right, it is Friday, so you guys know what that means. We grab something red to remember everyone deployed. It's also happy hour, and do I have a treat for you? The one and only Big Swear, Godfather of Crypto to my family, is joining us today. So you guys jump in the live chat, ask some questions. I'll try to star those and we'll get to them. But we are going to talk about, I think Westwood said something about guns and lawyers and banks and all kinds of crazy stuff. So join us and like and share the video. We'll be right back right after this. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Westwood, you said banks, bombs, lawyers,
and lawyers, guns, and money that has hit the fan.
And the one and only Big Swear is here to tell us all about it and to straighten me out about bank derivatives. And it's not the bond market, it's the derivatives. It's the road to Ruta that's playing out and right in front of us. It's pretty incredible because it really is. You can see it. Just go back through and read the comic book. What you doing?
I changed my bubbly one, or red one. I forgot you had to be red, but yeah, I'm not drinking right now.
Yeah, red.
Like a day without sunshine, not drinking.
Just a few days.
Yeah, just a few.
You'll be fine. Hey, big shout out to your lovely wife, Amy. I hope she feels better.
I hope you feel better.
Under the weather. Would love to see her. She can't make a cameo because she's not feeling good.
I know. It's a bummer. I'm trying to stay away from her. You know, I stay at the far end of the house and she stays wherever she wants.
You have the rest.
It's been like 4 or 5 days that she's had the flu. So
that's terrible.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Brutal.
Love you, Amy. I hope you feel better soon. That's terrible.
Me too.
Yeah.
Take control of me and Buddy.
Yeah. I bet. Who's pouting more, you or Buddy?
I don't know. Well, I'm trying to pretend I'm Amy with Buddy, and it's just not quite as good.
Yeah, I'm
Looks
sure
at you.
he's not falling for that. No way. No way. Well, I was watching, catching up on the private road, and I saw your video with Jenny Moonstone too, and all of that was like really interesting, kind of disheartening, thinking like we have to go another year with the banksters because I was. Like,
I'm not so sure that's what she was reading into those cards.
Okay.
So I can talk about that a little bit if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to share anything we're not supposed to be sharing.
No, it's fine.
The private
road.
Give us a teaser.
The only thing I'm afraid of is talking about things that they're going to get you kicked off YouTube again. So I'll try to stay away from that kind of stuff. But we did. Yeah, I had Jenny do a reading of the banking system and how it will go this year. And everything was relative. So from Jenny's take, it was, and Jenny's not, she didn't grow up in finance. And I mean, she didn't even like to talk about
what a quarter was. Yeah.
She figured out what a quarter was. Yeah. But she is very good at reading the cards. And what she saw for our financial system is the first part of it kind of just trudges along. Everything's like hunky-dory, the same as always. Something happens in the second quarter that really deep stabilizes everything. And then by the third quarter, they think, okay, we fixed this. It's kind of like 2008 when they fixed it with, $700 billion out of the Congress, but they didn't really fix anything. This is going to be probably 20 or 30 trillion just to stabilize it, and it's not coming from anywhere. I don't know any Congress I know that's going to do it. The Fed's been doing it up to this point. But then she said after the end of the third quarter, that's when the big mother of all mother hits. And which makes sense because that's the end of the fiscal year for the United States of America. There's all kinds of things about that kind of stuff that's like, it makes sense. But she didn't say that nothing's going to happen this year. She said the opposite.
No. I was saying we have another year with the banksters. Like this year is like, I was good with today, Groundhog Day.
You don't want 2025. You want it right now.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Pony said, we're already in La La Land, so who knows what the hell's going on.
Hard to say. I'm just trying to keep up with all the different calendars. I don't even know where we're at here at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my God.
The saddest thing about Bo is he's embarrassing God now.
Oh, that's sad. I don't even want to get into all that. I don't understand why the picking on. I kind of think, and I don't know if I should even say this, but I kind of think that whole narrative is to try to get people to stand on their own 2 feet and quit picking a camp to submit or like give up their own voice or mind and be like, okay, well, I just believe, like, I love and respect Uncle Cliff, but I do not like just, I like a lot of his thoughts and I consider everything that he says. And then I, process it and I look at other things that I hear and then I have my own ideas about things. And I think that's what we're all supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be like growing the F up right now and stop. We came out of this, or I hope we came out of this thing where celebrities were telling us what to do and think and all this. Today they came out with a thing that these Stanley cups that everyone bought their kid a Stanley cup for Christmas. Oh, guess what? They have lead in them, people.
It's only in the base. The stainless steel, it keeps it separate. It's only in the base. It's not where you drink it. It's fine.
I don't know what you guys are talking about right now.
The Stanleys?
These cups that were went viral and everybody bought their kid one for Christmas and now they're poisonous. So you're poisoning your child with it. But it's just it's that, middle class mind, hive mind culture, like follower culture thing. That's what we're supposed to be breaking out of and becoming adults. You raise your child to be an adult. You don't perpetually raise children to be perpetual children. We're supposed to be becoming adults and standing on our own 2 feet. And we can't be living this tribalism thing where, we become a tribe so we don't have to choose for ourselves anymore. No, you have to choose for yourself so that you can stand on your own 2 feet and be an adult. And there's consequences to that. And sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, or you win or you learn. That's what my husband says,
That's true.
In reality, I think I like to, and I agree with you 100%. I like to frame it as far as what's going on in the United States is that we've been living in a nanny state our entire lives. Everything has been provided for us. How it got there and why it got there is, up for debate. I believe the bankers put us in this position where we are completely dependent upon bailing them out every single time because we have never lived in a world where we couldn't transact. We couldn't go to the store and get food. We couldn't go, fill up our car with gas, other than short-term blips. We didn't, that they've set this system up so that we are 100% dependent upon keeping them
the system
in charge, keeping them and the system in charge. Yeah. The moment we take that away, you've lost your life savings. You've lost your 401k. You've lost your ability to feed your family. You've lost everything. And then that's where they come in with their final plan. You'll own nothing and like it because, we have a new system for you that's so much better than this old system of you trying to do it on your own. And that we've just been conditioned there. There's no way around it. We're going to have to suffer the pain of either being under their thumb or having nobody. I would rather have nobody than be under the thumb of these criminals who run our lives now.
Completely, 100%. So I came out of that really abusive, controlling marriage, 20-year marriage that I was, I thought it was worth nothing. I stayed in it. I thought I could pet the monster and that I would be taken care of. And as long as I pet the monster, then I would be taken care of and that he would never leave and it would be okay. And I realized I put myself in a prison. And that is that's the definition of where most Americans are right now. And when you get out of it, it's scary as hell because you're responsible. It's just you. You got to feed yourself and your kids and you got to find somewhere to live and you got to figure it out all by yourself. But it's exciting to know that you are going to be okay and you are going to figure it out. And It's going to be scary and it's not always going to work out exactly like you think, but it's also, you get to make every new choice. Everything's new again. Everything, you get to reinvent and make all new decisions and make a new future. And you don't have to live by the old rules. And that's the positive part that we have to look forward to. Yes, the old system is coming down and that seems really scary, but we also get to build a whole new future and make new rules, or not rules, but we have new opportunities in front of us. And that's what I get excited about. That I hope everyone can see those new opportunities and we can like break off of the old stuff. We don't have to recreate those old pathways, you know?
Agreed.
So tell me about we talked about I sent you the article where I saw that Barclays was kicked out of the bond market in Texas, and Texas has like the 11th largest economy, and then in like as far as like nation sizes or something. And so I was asking Jim about it, and he's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. And then I was watching your videos, because I always watch your videos, and you were like, oh, I'm gonna straighten Lisa out. So straighten me out on this, because I thought it was really exciting, because I'm like, oh, double whammy.
Well, the reality of what you were saying, because I was like, holy shit, because the title of what your video said was basically Barclays got kicked out of the Texas bond market and they're about to go down.
Yeah, I was told that they're going to declare bankruptcy either this week or next.
Who told you that?
Jim Willie.
Okay, so if it doesn't happen, what happens?
I don't know.
What happens to Jim's comment?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, these banks could go any day. They didn't get kicked out of the bond market in Texas because they were struggling.
No, it's
because of their ESG.
They wouldn't make a commitment on their ESG.
So that's got nothing to do with that. And they were a small player, I think 3%. So they were a tiny player. As far as Barclays, are they going bankrupt in the next couple of weeks? Nobody knows. The stock surely doesn't show it. The way their bonds are trading surely doesn't show it. Nothing other than Jim Willie saying that they're going under. But these banks could all go under in a matter of days. It could all happen. Whether it happens to Barclays, are they a systemic bank? Yeah, they're big enough to be systemic. They're not U.S. They probably have a U.S. division, but they're a UK bank, which is different rules. I'm sure they have a U.S. division as well. But I don't know where he got what he said. I guess we'll know in the next couple of weeks whether or not Barclays goes down. But my gut is Barclays won't go down until everybody goes down. So they can't sweep that one under the rug. So it's got to be. It probably won't happen.
Didn't you say something about them having they had some derivative thing as well, or having a large?
They won the award for being the biggest or the best derivative clearinghouse in 2023. Now,
wouldn't that make them very vulnerable?
But they don't own them. They don't own them. All they're doing is clearing the derivatives. So they're putting two parties together: the person who owns them, person who bought them, and stuff like that. But you can still get in trouble in that world. They own very little amount of derivatives. Actually, I looked it up. It was like only $3 billion worth of derivatives, or 30 billion, or something like that. Whereas J.P. Morgan owns 50 trillion. So I mean, it might happen. Maybe Jim Willie knows what he's talking about, and we'll see Barclays go down. I just don't see it. And I don't know anybody else who's saying that other than Jim.
Okay.
So maybe he knows a guy, and he used to have The Voice, or not The Voice. Was it The Voice?
It might have been The Voice.
This great contact in banking years and years ago, but he was long gone. Okay. So,
but
everything.
Oh, he's got the whisper.
If the one goes, then they all go, kind of like dominoes. So,
we don't know. I mean, with the Barclays, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a systemic bank in the U.S., but if Europe goes, obviously, the U.S. will go too. These banks are so big and so fragile that all it takes is one. There's little banks that are flopping, every couple of days now.
Okay.
And but they're not. They're more a symptom of the problem. The biggest problem now is the it was the bond market. It's still the bond market, but now the commercial real estate is starting to hit home. And with Evergrande finally declaring bankruptcy, that's $300 billion that won't get paid out, and there will be no liquidation. Guys like the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg say, "Oh, now that finally the creditors will get some payback." China already said, "We're not." You can say what you want. Any properties held in China, they're not going to liquidate them. They're going to give them to whoever bought the apartment building, massive apartment buildings. Whoever bought the apartments are going to just keep them. They just won't have to pay anymore. And the overseas, there's different bankruptcy laws, but China has two different sets of laws for domestic and laws for foreigners. They have two different sets of currency, the yuan and the renminbi. The renminbi's for locals and the yuan's for the rest of the world. They've got two different shares of stock. There's the H stock and the A stock. The H stock is for the rest of the world. The A stock is for Chinese investors only. So they are ready to split apart this financial system that the U.S. says, "Oh, my God, China needs us." Well, China doesn't need us at all. All we do is give them pieces of paper for all their goods that they make. They have plenty of customers to buy all those goods with pieces of paper they can just hand out like the U.S. hands them out. So, yeah, the whole thing's falling apart. The bankers are knee deep in it. All the allegations of J.P. Morgan and the board of J.P. Morgan being knee deep in Epstein are absolutely true. It's 50 times worse than you can even imagine. And this is the largest, most systemic bank in the world, in the middle of probably the worst political. It's kind of political and kind of banking. The worst thing that humanity has ever seen in the history of humanity. Even worse than the Holocaust and everything else is what's going on with these people. So
just before we came on, Jean-Claude and Uncle Cliff were retweeting there was a huge cave-in in New York, or collapse in New York. And
tunnels.
The tunnels.
There's tunnels everywhere.
Near another no, I can't find
God.
Yeah, you hear about earthquakes in the middle of nowhere. You hear about smoke coming from the rafters. There's a war going on underneath our feet that we won't hear about. I mean, we can't. The worry that humanity can't take what the knowledge of what really happened is probably true. We couldn't, as a society, as the fragile little human beings that we are.
Mm-hmm. Italian, must be Italian. Fragile.
Yeah. Well, and the warning went out from Google that everybody was talking about. I think the last time I was on with you with Bix or on Jean-Claude, and that's when that Google warning came out that said, if you post anything or send anything through Google that, scares somebody or whatever, we're going to be censoring it. I'm kind of surprised that this is allowed to go through anywhere.
Yeah, this is the Jewish mosque or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The Jewish, it's not called a mosque. What do they call it?
Those trucks look really old.
I don't know. Or something. I don't know.
Yes.
And the clothing looks kind of old. I don't know. Does that look like current?
Yeah, there's tunnels all over the place where they shuffle. Yeah, a big one was like Motel 6. Motel 6 will have rooms that you go into the closet, you lift up the rug, and there's a trap door to tunnels underneath that are being.
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
People going into the rooms and showing it.
It's crazy, yeah.
Think about who owns the hotels. We got a governor here in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, who owns his family's tied into the Hyatts. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, that family, actually, I knew.
Straight out of Ukraine, his family, right?
Yeah, well,
there's a connection there.
I knew one of I think she was a maid or the childcare person who worked for the Pritzker family in San Francisco, one of the Pritzker clan.
Yeah, there's many.
I'm like, do you know how evil that family is? She's like, I don't know. They're just rich and they pay me a lot of money, but they never talk to their kids. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sounds healthy. Sounds very productive.
So this question that Duncan is asking, I was really excited, when we were seeing what was happening in Texas and then watching, all these states come and stand with Texas, and
you're very excitable.
well, I know
She's just an excitable girl.
I am, because I want we the people to win, and to come out of this and be free from all this corruption that we've been held under, and this slavery system, this counterfeiting of our energy that we've been under. And, a lot of this has come from education, from my mom introducing us to you and Uncle Cliff, and, all these people telling us the truth and trying to educate and wake up the people for 20 plus years now, Bix.
You can still be excited without. I mean, I'm more in the position of, like, I get excited about stuff like that, but I keep it within the framework of that's just one thing going on. It doesn't have to lead to something else, something bigger. Boom, we're free type of thing. I'm excited when I see the little battles won in silver. I'm excited when I see. In where is it? Germany, that the farmers are protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Those things get me excited too, but I don't translate that as in, oh, this is the thing's going to tip over the apple cart and we're all going to be free next week.
So many small battles along the way, I guess.
The excitement of life is in the journey. It's not the destination.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the journey. The destination, you're going to be bored stiff when you're free. It's just going to be, what the hell am I going to fight for now? I'm in la la, and this is why God created this, in my opinion. This whole thing where we have to struggle, or we don't learn the lessons along the way. Just look how far you've come in the past 10 years in your understanding of life, and that's why we came here, to learn and to have our little victories and celebrate and be sad. So yeah. I'm telling you, I've been in this, 25 years now? Mm-hmm. I wish it ended day one, but I wouldn't have learned all the stuff I learned.
That's true. That's true. So one of the conversations today, and I sent this to Westwood, and I want to know your thoughts on it. Tim Pool was saying that the left wants a civil war because it would withhold the Constitution, or it would suspend the Constitution. What are your thoughts on that?
Why would they want a civil war? They don't want a civil war. Maybe the Biden left, the politicians might want a civil war. The people who are left-leaning, left middle, or far left, nobody wants a civil war. The only people who want civil war are the deep staters and the Antifa people, who are all paid actors, by the way. So, no, I wouldn't call it a civil war. I don't know. I mean, I live in California. I don't know anybody who's mad at. They just think Republicans are dumb. They don't want to go to war with them, and they wouldn't win.
Right? Yeah, nobody wants that.
They don't believe in anything but flowers, and everybody should have free stuff. That's all they believe in.
That's kind of how I thought. I was like, who are you mad at? Like,
right.
Well, but the powers that be might want, like you said, the powers that be might want the civil war. There may be players that are trying to orchestrate that stuff to manipulate us against each other, like they always do. But that could be one point to where they could start something.
It's more likely that the war would be the left and the right against the powers that be. And I think that's where we are headed. And all it takes is a few revelations of what happened during the election on both sides. I mean, Trump cheated just the same as Hillary cheated. It's just who had the final click of the computer mouse back when the election is finally decided. Nobody's
on eBay. You get that last second bid in. You're like, I won.
Yeah, that's why Hillary was so just out of her mind. She's like, "What do you mean? I already rigged it.
I'm drunk. I can't even show up and make a speech."
So, yeah, I think, it says a lot that they haven't done anything to fix the voting system.
Right, that's the problem.
Back in 2016, before the election, the U.S. Postal Service filed a patent for blockchain voting. It's foolproof. You can't cheat, you can't lie, you can't steal. It's right there on the blockchain, but they don't want to implement it. I mean, the insanity of these people, because they love the chaos. Politicians, they thrive on chaos, even if they have to kick people out of their party. It's not about parties. It's about control and keeping the two sides intact and just complete bullshit. Everything is a lie. The labor statistic numbers today or payroll numbers, complete and total lie. And
you're seeing all these companies laying people off, these big companies. I mean, and then they have 356,000 jobs. Oh my gosh, surprise! Everything's great. We can't raise rates now or lower rates now. Do you think they're going to? And this is kind of going off on a tangent. My gut feeling is, things are going to get so wonky coming up here that. You remember when Powell at the end of last year, everybody got excited. Oh, he's sounding very dovish. Oh my gosh, it sounds like we're going to get all these rate cuts. And then he comes out this latest meeting, and then everybody reacts like, oh shoot, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen until like quarter 2 or 3 even. And it's almost like they're setting you up for, well, I guess we're not going to have any rate cuts now. And then all of a sudden, what happens? Are we going to have like a crypto viewing cliff moment where something happens and, oh, we got to lower rates. Something blows up and engineered, of course. Well, is that what we're heading for? I don't know.
That just tells you just how fragile the system is.
Yeah.
If a comment by a human being makes the system either get destroyed or go up on that kind of situation, is that really a sound foundation for a global unbacked fiat monetary system? I don't think so.
No, not at all. 34 trillion plus in debt, and that's not the unfunded liabilities. I mean, give me a break. Do you really think this is going to get paid off? At some point, they've got to do something to usher in a new system to break it. It goes into your theory, Bix. Run it hot as you can run it, and crash it and burn it, because that's the only way out. I mean, they can't like soft land this stuff. They can't transition us out of this unless it's all based on the Bitcoin ETFs and they roll everybody's retirement into this new system and it's all based on Bitcoin that you can never take out and you can never control. I don't know. Maybe that's a path. I don't know. So we'll see.
Solve the problem.
No.
The biggest problem.
Still control it.
Obviously they don't even talk about paying off the debt.
No,
or the deficit. They'll talk about the deficit, but they don't really give a shit about it because it won't be paid back. No country's ever paid back their deficit, as far as I know.
When it's debt based, how can they?
But it takes pain, and what country, what politician especially, wants to tell their people, oh, you have to go through pain because we've been spending money for 5 generations and never paid it back. Tell a millennial that now, and tell them you're going to have to pay off $500,000 per person, and we'll just take it right out of your check. Don't worry about it. You'll own nothing and like it. No, they're gonna say, "Fuck you." What happens if I just walk away, bastard?
Exactly, because it's not even enough. I mean, it's not even enough. We taxed everybody 100%. I mean, you're not going to pay it down. You're not. It's just too far gone. And but I need my Social Security, so why fight the system as long as I get my checks, even though they're devalued every month. I mean, okay, I'll keep on kicking along. I mean, we got to break free from that mindset of thinking that it's going to get fixed. It's not going to get fixed. So the thing is to circle back, because Lisa loves it when I say that, to circle back, I mean, it comes down to at some point we have to quit looking for someone to be a leader. We have to quit looking for someone outside of ourselves to save us. I don't care who it is. Every president of the corporation that comes in always, ramps up debt multiple trillions of dollars because it has to. That's an unsound monetary system that we're in. And we have to get to the point and say, okay, fine, I'll eat the pain now. And I am going to take moves, do things that I can do to be as free as I possibly can and exit that vampire casino, because that's what it is. Quit playing in it and find a way to do that. And, own everything that you have, get the things that you need. Be as self-sufficient as possible. And yeah, you can't be an island, but, you try and build a community of like-minded people who are going to think the same way and have the same values, and build it from, the shoot out of the old tree root and try to, manifest something new. Otherwise, I mean, you can't keep thinking that someone's going to fix this. RFK is not going to fix this. Trump's not going to fix this. Biden can't fix this. Nobody's going to fix it at the top level. They can have certain things that they do to make your life less painful if they're pulling the levers. But ultimately, it's a rigged casino. It's Vegas, baby. I mean, that's all it is. And we got a Super Bowl in Vegas. That's a whole nother can of worms, but I won't get into. Mm-hmm. But it's just like you've got to, at an individual level right now, how can you save yourself? What can you do every day to disconnect from playing with those poker chips that they give you? I mean, and that's what you got to do, however you got to do it. What do we do? Buy silver? I mean, what do we do?
Yeah, what Bix has been teaching us: have hard money, have possessions in your own, have assets in your own possession, and tell everybody you can to do the same, right?
I'd say whiskey, cigars, dogs, silver,
yeah.
Litecoin. I mean, property that you own, things that, those things, fundamental assets that you hold and control. I mean, to me, that's all we can do.
Yeah. The biggest problem is that to get there, you need money to do it. Mm-hmm. And in today's money, you have to be, somehow have weaseled your way or really great at what you did or gotten the right .com company to have enough money to live, not only to live, but to stock up on all these things we need. And most people don't have that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's true. And so I guess the only thing we can do is try and do the best we can, educate people and try and awaken people to what's really going on. So.
Oh no, where'd he go?
Realize when they get effed.
He's on his hands. Sometimes he hits a.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Realize that when we get screwed, that they know who did it to them. And I mean, I think that's the big thing. Know who the vampires are and know how.
See.
Aww.
Sometimes he hits the. He's a hand talker like me, and sometimes he'll hit the phone and knock himself out. But since he's out of there, Mom and I were talking, and she's like,
"How is Mom?"
She's doing good. She's adjusting. My sister and her kids just moved out, bought a house. So Mom is newly alone.
Just her and her chickens and her goats and
a new puppy.
And puppies are good.
Yeah, puppies are good. And she really, so she's enjoying it. But we're gonna go visit her soon. So
all right, said hi.
Yes, I will. But she was like, I sent her. So Johnny texted me this morning and said that more than half of the payment servers were down this morning. Every processing account connected to them, which is probably half of the merchants in the US. Every single account had their deposits suspended. It must have been related to Evergrande.
I don't see how those two are connected.
Oh, you don't?
No.
So it was all the processing accounts and the merchant services in the U.S. this morning.
That's a much bigger issue than, people having issues with the Evergrande default. Evergrande defaulted a long time ago. Most of the big guys are already out of Evergrande. They've written off those assets, and the people like Tether, which I think had a lot of Evergrande high yielding bonds. I think they lie anyway, so they probably didn't even bother to get rid of their Evergrande if there's anything behind Tether. So let's talk about the FTX stuff. Everybody's getting their money back, but they're not going to get their money. They're not going to get their crypto back.
You're not going to get your Bitcoin. You're not going to get your Litecoin. They'll pay you in fake fiat casino chips. I mean, that's what they're going to do. Keep playing the casino.
The judge said, "Oh, the U.S. bankruptcy law. I have to make sure that all those cryptos are liquidated to drive the price down, and then we'll give you cash at the time that when they declared bankruptcy. Bitcoin was $15,000 at the time they declared bankruptcy. Everybody's going to get 100% of their money back, but the government's going to have all this crypto to sell off to keep the price suppressed.
They're going to Mount Gox you to where, when the time is opportune, they'll release it onto the market.
Because it all got stolen. It's missing.
It didn't get stolen.
Is this just another affront game? I mean, all these exchanges, I think, are nothing but confiscation of crypto. All these exchanges. Is that what they're in place for?
They used massive leverage because they're brilliant traders. They lost all the money. We know how fast that can happen. We're in cryptos. We've all take out loans and
95%
stupid things in cryptos. You can be a multi-trillionaire one day and be sucking on a can of tuna fish the next in cryptos, especially if you're an idiotic MIT trader who thinks, "Oh, I got the insight. Nobody's as smart as I am." It's full of shit. They were laundering deep state money is what they were doing. And then the good guys took them out. You shouldn't have your cryptos in anybody's exchange. Just put them. Bitcoin was made as a peer-to-peer transaction currency. That means, hey, you shouldn't have it in an exchange or anything. Oh, look at that. It's a white paper framed. I like it.
I got the white paper right here. The first sentence, the abstract. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. That is the dream. And then, let's put it in an ETF. It'll be fine.
Well, them saying that this was in a SIM swapping hack. I'm like, why in the world would this have been on a device that had a SIM?
Well, it's not. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
Yeah. I mean, who was FTX, really? It was the same people I call in the pedo cabal. These are the guys living out of Puerto Rico. And
they were in the Bahamas, or I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not go too far into that.
The 3-letter agency that.
Yeah, it's the same thing at EOS and that bullshit. And it's just so many of them. And they're all linked to the same people and the same, Deltec Bank and all that bullshit. Just get your crypto in your own possession.
Right. You got the tools to do it. Just do it. I mean, you got weapons on the economic battlefield that you don't pick up. You're like, oh, you guys take care of it. I'll put my name on it. And then you guys take it and put it in your toolbox. Put it in your armory. And then when you go to get it, it's like silver ETFs. You go to get it. We'll pay in some fiat. Yeah, we'll just print it up and give it to you.
Crazy.
Once again, that's that not taking personal responsibility,
right?
Leaning on somebody else, being a child, letting somebody else be daddy for you. You know what I mean? Like everybody else, stop looking for your sugar daddy and be a freaking adult. I had a friend send me an article that said that, oh gosh, I don't know if I can find it or not, but
join my OnlyFans. I'll teach you how to do that.
About the FBI went in and took a bunch of people's safety deposit box.
Well, banks have been doing that forever.
And it's legal for them to do it, isn't it? I mean, they
just got busted, but it's gone.
They can just claim. All they got to do is claim. We thought it was empty because no one came in a year to collect anything, and we opened it up and there was nothing in there. That every time they open up one of these boxes, there was nothing in there. Right. It's like when we went into Iraq and they had pictures of all this gold piled onto a truck being pulled out. And everybody's, oh my God, look at all the gold the U.S. is pulling out of Iraq. And they said, no, those were just copper bars. That's all they were. And they weren't even real. They were steel and they were painted copper. It's such bullshit. How do you prove it? Prove it. Go ahead, prove it. We stole millions of dollars out of your safe deposit box, but prove it. We opened it and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Trust us.
I'm sure we can believe them all. Yeah. It's just, there's some crazy things going on.
Bix, are you going to the Litecoin Summit July 24th and 25th in Nashville, Tennessee?
Not that I know of at the moment.
Well, I would love to see you there.
I would, truthfully, I love hanging out with you guys.
It's in July.
I took last year off as far as travels after spending a couple months in the RV. Who knows? I was kind of getting the bug to go out there again and do an event or two, or probably not a world tour again, unless I, get rich and famous and have valets carry my shit around the whole time.
I'll carry your stuff.
I kind of did with Josh and Paige back in the day, but they're off doing their own thing.
So, well, if you come to Nashville, I'll unload all your stuff for you. I'll carry it in.
Hey,
I will too. I was thinking, what would be cool is if we could get the Troubadour and have a party there and have you sing
in LA?
Troubadour in Nashville.
Oh, there's one in LA that I know of, the famous one.
I thought the famous one was
Nashville. It's Music City, USA. I mean, we got the Bix Weir, the folk singer. I mean, come on, man. We got to get you there.
We'll see.
But I get it. You get to a point to where it's almost, and I'm that way all the time. I feel, I'm not speaking for you, but my own personal experience, and maybe you resonate with this, maybe you don't, is that I don't even want to leave the house anymore. I don't even want to go anywhere anymore. It's just, I want to build my own sanctuary. I want to kind of get, and just disconnect from all this and, just not, but then Lisa says, hey, you got to get out there and do, she drags me out, and I love the people.
Come on, you're going.
But I mean, I love the dogs at home too, cigars and bar, and I'm kind of good,
Maybe I'll just book it and then I'll drag you guys all there.
There you go. That's usually how it happens.
Yeah,
you'll go right behind my back to Amy right away.
Well, that was my plan. I wasn't going to bring it up. I was just going to talk to Amy.
They sell Coors in East Texas. Look at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm off Coors Light now, though. I've weaned myself off beer.
Did you really?
It's just wine. Red wine.
Wine. Drink the family wine.
Drink the family wine. That's all I can.
You know where it comes from. I mean, there's something to be said about that.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much shit in our food and our drink these days, and in the air. It's like the whole world's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it really is. And so, I mean, that's my whole thing. And that's why, why do you live where you live? It's like, well, I can put a seed in the ground and it produces all kinds of good stuff. You know what I mean? You know where it comes from. And there's something important about that, to know where things come from. Try to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can. I think bring back the victory gardens, bring back, independence, bring back decentralization. I mean, because everything's so centralized at this point that, I mean, that's what causes a lot of problems, and it all goes back to the money. It's the energy. It's us putting energy into things that don't have value and being deceived into doing it. And so we just have to, I don't know, just have a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Definitely.
Double Big Macs back. I saw that. You got a double Big Mac.
1 million served.
Yeah. 1 million what?
People served.
How does mouth get red?
To serve man. Like the Twilight Zone episode, remember that one? To serve man, they had but it was a cookbook. It's not serving you; it's actually serving you on a platter.
Yes, that's what I.
Rod Serling, go watch that stuff. That's good information. Go watch all the Twilight Zone episodes to see where we're at.
Big stuff. You said something today about, or I think it was today. What is that dude doing? About the mint closing down again or stopping.
I've taken it on myself to watch them very closely this year.
Yeah.
Because last year they were going to do about 12 million coins. And then I had that interview with the head of Silver Eagle sales at the mint, and he gave up the goose on, he said, well, they told me not to sell any Silver Eagles. And, once that got out, they started making them again. They ended up doing about 24 million coins last year. So I went back and, they lie in most of their their annual report and all. There's so many lies out there. But in the budget requests for this year, I saw something extremely startling that didn't happen in any of the budget requests before, and that was they are planning on selling 35 million Silver Eagles this year, and they can do it. I mean, they're on allocation, meaning whatever they make is already sold. But the reality of them putting that into the budget, that they're going to do almost double the amount of Silver Eagles, that's a huge thing. So I'm keeping an eye on it. And at the beginning of the year, the first 2 weeks, they were on fire and did almost 5 million ounces. And then I think they said, oh, shit, maybe we're going too fast. And they just stopped for 2 weeks. They're supposed to report every day. They stopped for 2 weeks. So, I mean, we're now into February. They didn't want to print something over 5 million. They'll probably do you can just divide it by 12 months and figure out what they're going to do a month. And if they
have they restarted?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're running the presses or running the process, but they aren't reporting it.
Okay.
So it isn't like, oh, we're announcing something. They haven't announced anything. They just didn't post for 2 weeks when they're supposed to post every day, and they don't post every day. And another problem I have with them. So yeah, I think they should do about 35 million coins, which is almost double what they did last year. Or would have
number.
What they would have 35.
How insane is that though?
JFK's
I mean,
presidential number?
I don't know.
35? Yes, you know. Don't tell me I don't know.
I don't know.
Yes,
you're into that gematria or whatever that shit is.
That's not gematria. That's just history, American history. The 35th president happened to be JFK.
There you go, American history. So wait, I have a question here.
Yes, a question for
an accounting trick and roll up trillions in debt and put it in a bond with an 80-year to 100-year maturity. Why would they even want to? If you just had people like that, you're messing with the faith and confidence of the U.S. dollar. You'd be better off just lying about it, not to mess with the faith and confidence. I mean, talk to Catherine Austin Fitts about how much money has really been created. Hundreds of trillions of dollars, not just, the debt isn't 35 trillion. It's hundreds of trillions. They haven't told anybody about it. And that goes for every country on the planet. They learn from the United States. You don't have to announce when you make money. You just, I mean, I've been diving into the Silver Institute's ridiculous annual silver survey. They don't even include any military silver in there, and military is a massive silver user. So how is that representative of the supply demand fundamentals of silver? And oh, by the way, they're underreporting silver by about 40-50%. How does that help anybody? So no. Confidence in the U.S. dollar, faith and confidence. If you have faith and confidence in the U.S. dollar, you deserve to lose it all. I'm sorry. It means you aren't smart enough to figure this out. And I think I'm a big advocate of people losing everything that they have. If you can't figure this out by now, and if you've laughed at everybody who said, "Oh, buy gold and silver," yeah. Hey, it's a tough world out there. You came down here for a reason, and I hope the reason wasn't to be stupid.
Okay, Light Shadow has a question for you, Bix. What about military use of silver not reported?
That's what I just said. None of it is reported. They report zero, but also keep in mind that nobody reports silver. The Silver Institute says it is a survey, the annual silver survey that everybody points to. That means they call up people who have used silver, for example, silver paste manufacturers for solar panels. They'll call up the CEO and say, "Hey, how much silver do you use in your solar panels?" They don't want to tell people they can't find enough silver. So they say, "Oh, I just use it." It's smaller and smaller every year. They call up the Jeffrey Christians of the world and the JP Morgans of the world. How much silver do you think is important? This is a survey. These people cannot think for themselves. I talked to the head of Metal Focus, the guy who literally is the decider on this stuff. He has all his guys out there. First thing he said to me is, "Well, I don't believe in silver manipulation." I go, "Do you read the newspaper? JP Morgan got busted for tens of thousands of instances of silver manipulation. How could you say you don't believe in silver manipulation?" That's the way these people work. So, no, I don't think the silver survey has anything close to what the true supply demand numbers and we're going to find out the ultimate end game for all this is that we're going to run out of silver.
Is the failure, and that's in Uncle Cliff's data, is the failure to deliver.
Yeah, we'll just have one. We'll go from $20 silver to unobtainium, as Cliff calls it.
Unobtainium. And you were just saying that the COMEX that has taken delivery the last so many days or whatever, taken physical delivery. You had these.
We got Bank of America doing this. Doing this thing.
It's such a small scale, but it's which makes it real weird, out of the ordinary, is that at the end of the month, it's not even a delivery month for silver. There's people buying contracts that day and standing for delivery that day in quantities that aren't huge, million ounces here, million ounces there. On the COMEX, that's not much. But the reality of somebody actually doing that, and the entity there was an entity that had to sell it, which was short, was Bank of America and also HSBC. HSBC kind of got away from it when they got busted for all these other crimes, and now they're back in it. So it's not like we don't know who these entities are. All you have to do is look at the deliveries. Whoever is making a delivery on silver means they had a short that got called for delivery.
Bix, your research, I mean, as far as war goes, and we're bombing, different countries right now as we speak.
That's a hard thing to determine how much silver is used.
Right. Somebody light shadow in the chat here just said 500 ounces per cruise missile. I mean, is that accurate? I mean, what's your gauge on that? I mean, what do you think?
So, Andy Shackman came out and said, yeah, that's accurate. But the problem, obviously, is that the U.S. has made a total of 4,000 cruise missiles. So you take, 500 ounces times 4,000, that's what, 2 million. Who cares about 2 million ounces of silver? It's not a point that is even relevant in the overall scheme of things. 2 million ounces of silver, given that the LBMA is transferring 1.2 billion every year. And that's 2 million ounces of total tomahawks ever made since the beginning of tomahawks. So, but having said that, there's silver used in all kinds of things, including other types of missiles. That anything that has an electrical current going through it most likely has a little bit of silver in it. So yes, I do think there's quite a bit of silver being used on the military side, but obviously, 2 million ounces in tomahawks total over the 20 years we've had tomahawks, or however it's long, is not a lot of silver. And what is more important to me is the Silver Institute's annual change year to year. And that's where I can really bust them at, because the amount of solar installed this year, just solar panels installed, went from 250 million gigawatts, 250 million gigawatts, 250 gigawatts to 440 gigawatts. It's a 75% increase. Yet the Silver Institute is saying the increase is only 8%. So we're talking about what happened to it. And don't tell me it was silver thrifting, how they take a little bit of silver out, because actually the amount of silver going into the solar panels is increasing now with the new technology called TopCon. So they have a lot to answer for, but they're not going to answer for it, because they say, hey, it's just when I first started talking to this guy, he said, what do you think it is? Maybe we can come to an agreement between us. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? We're talking about, I want to know the actual number. How much silver is being used? And he's like talking about negotiating. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, check the survey, check the poll. Get your answer.
It's quoted. I mean, you'll see it all over the place. The Silver Institute says it's a crock of shit.
Somebody said.
So I think it's a lot of, it's like so many assets. It's like, that's how I look at Litecoin, bring that in a little bit. That's how I look at silver. At some point, it's just they've played the game long enough to where they've suppressed it long enough that it just blows, slowly, and then all of a sudden, is that kind of the moment we're waiting for? Because, and I think that's, a rhetorical question. When that does happen, it's too late. It does become unobtainium. It does become something that you can't get your hands on. I mean, is that kind of what we're waiting for, when that crescendo, that big moment, that breaking point happens? Because they're going to suppress it as long as they can, I would think. I mean, why would they let it rise?
Yeah, I think we're seeing part of that in Ted Butler just discovered in the past 6 weeks that 29 new traders have gone long that are not in the commercial versus the tech trader scenario. These are other traders that had to announce, once you go over 150 contracts, then you have to say, you have to register on the COMEX as one of the participants. So 29 new players just went over 150 contracts. That's about 30 million ounces long silver that will be standing for delivery, most likely. And that's how you do it. You don't be a Hunt brother or a Warren Buffett and say, hey, I got 100 million ounces that I want to take delivery, because the government will just take you out.
Right.
What you do is you get 29 patriots and say, hey, everybody pull off 1 million ounces at a time, and you're going to stranglehold the JP Morgans of the world and the Bank of Americas of the world.
I mean, it doesn't take that much, does it? I mean, you think about it, the cost of silver right now, the price of silver right now, you got a few, multimillionaires that say, hey, I want to put $5 million in it, and you get, there's a lot of multimillionaires out there, with all the money that's been created. And Elon Musk, hey, I need silver for my manufacturing. I need, this amount of silver. I'm going to take delivery. He doesn't.
That's the worst thing that could happen to Elon, though, right? Because what are his three big companies? Well, not counting Twitter. You got an electric car company uses massive amounts of silver. You got a solar power company uses massive amounts of silver, and you got a space company that uses massive amounts of silver. The reality of Elon Musk and silver, he knows exactly what's going on. He doesn't want to. I mean, he would have to
basically upsets the apple cart. If
he would have to shut down Tesla. The cars shouldn't be made right now. These solar panels shouldn't be going in. The only reason they're going in is silver is being misallocated into these use cases that are, one, destroying silver. None of these solar panels are ever going to recycle this silver out. It's just used in too thin. They lay these tiny thin strips of solar paste on these things, just tiny amounts. But there's so many of them.
But it adds up cumulatively, yeah.
Yeah, last year it was about double the amount of the demand should have been doubled. Now they didn't say that, but it's about double. And you had the price of silver go nowhere. Zero movement in the price of silver from January 1st to December 31st. I think it was the difference of like 3 cents. it tells you supply and demand doesn't matter at all when it comes to price. They trade at least 300, probably 500 times the derivatives to set the price of silver than all the silver in the world, which is crazy.
So I don't know if you can see this, Bix, but the screen, somebody said that the U.S. debt clock picture, the secret window picture today, is literally what we've been talking about, the solar capacity, the silver used in solar cell production. And it has this little military guy over here and says, you don't understand, it's strategic, economic, financial, political, social, and vital to maintain the current world paradigm. There's the military is the only way thing. Does that play into all of this?
I love when people pull out the debt clock, because people used to think that actually came from the government.
It's like a Federal Reserve website, right?
No, it's not. None of this. It is a website run. I don't know who runs it.
I don't know.
I guess the analogy I was using, sorry to interrupt, but the analogy I'm using, it's like, okay, it's the Federal Reserve. It's part of government. It's the U.S. debt clock. It's authoritative. But some family owns the website and puts stuff up,
Yeah, but I do like it, and it is linked to the real numbers. And the way it works is they use a base case number and said, well, based on the amount of, say, money printing, this should be the price of silver and gold. And then they just run the program, and runs automatically. It's a great idea. But that picture right there, one of the things I have discovered, I discover new things all the time, especially in silver, is that very few people want the price of silver to rise.
Oh,
I could count on, maybe less than 100,000 people on an 8 billion people planet who want the price of silver to rise. And that would be retail investors. Nobody else, even about 3/4 of the silver mining companies don't want the price to rise, because that would affect all their other things that they mine. It's mined as mainly a byproduct. So clearly the retail buyers, humanity doesn't want the price of silver to rise. Who wants to pay an extra $2,000 for their cell phone because it has 1/100 of an ounce of silver in it? Nobody wants the price of silver to rise. So of course they're going to lie, cheat, and steal and allow it to go on, because it's good for humanity to waste silver and throw it away in solar panels and electric cars and whatever else they use it for. But nothing good is going to come at the end game of silver. It will be very disrupted and very painful for most people.
Interesting.
So prepare now. I guess the thing is, prepare for the, the Armageddon, apocalypse, whatever you want to call it now, because when it does happen, you're not going to be prepared for the consequences.
Yeah. And the largest consumer right now of silver by far, China and India. China and India, who have, I just looked at this and it just shocked me. They both have about 1.4, almost 1.5 billion people. That's 300 billion or 3 billion people in just China and India, where the whole world population is 8 billion.
Over a third, probably 40% of the population in those two countries.
Yes, and the U.S. is tiny, 330 million. The UK was like 60 million. That's all the people that are there out of 8 billion, and it's the 8 billion that want the lifestyle of the Western lives right now. All this silver is going to the east to build out the Belt and Road Initiative, as Andy talks about all the time, to build out, who the biggest electric car company in the world is not Tesla anymore. It's a Chinese company called like BKY or BYD or something like that. And they just overtook Tesla for the amount of cars that are made, electric cars. And those use massive amounts of silver. And then all the China, it was over half of the solar installations last year in 2023, just massive year. Over half of that was just in China. And they're trying to double it again this year. Where are they going to get, 500 million ounces of silver just for the solar panels in China? It's just the world is just absolutely gone crazy.
When does it hit that moment? I mean, I know you've been in this game a long time, and I think that's the question that a lot of people have, and we should be preparing for that. And I know it's frustrating. It's like, well, why doesn't it go up? I've been holding this for, 2010, it went to $50, and okay, cool, and now it's, $23. And, a lot of people they understand it. They understand the game. I shouldn't say a lot, they're certain people who understand the game, and they get their silver because they understand at some point it has to break. When does it break? I mean, are we heading to that moment? Are enough things coming to that cohesive point to where things just break and then it's too late? I don't know. Where is that? I don't know. Maybe we should ask Bill Pony what the timing is on that. I'm not sure.
Well, Jenny came up with a great answer 3 years ago. She goes, she sees silver breaking free of manipulation when the pedophiles are exposed.
Yeah, and then how many tunnels, like we talked about earlier,
Yep.
those things are happening.
Yep.
And
I think the big thing is with the whole tunnel thing is that we kind of know, and it's like the big elephant in the room. We don't want to talk about it. We know about it, but a lot of people are invested in people, and like you said, we've got a Super Bowl coming up, and everybody's invested in their team, and everybody has an opinion on it, and it's almost like, do we want to destroy our paradigm of our belief system that this person is the good guy, this person, is the leader, this person is that. A lot of these people that, so much of humanity has believed in, and, the lip service that they've given us, they get exposed because so many of them are tied to it that it breaks their paradigm. I don't know that necessarily the whole children thing breaks their paradigm. I think at a subconscious level, we all understand, hey, we have trafficking in the news all the time. We hear the word trafficking. And, it's like we shut down and don't want to go to the point where, just like Epstein. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison. They were trafficking people. And it's like, okay, but who are the people doing it? Who are the people like involved in it? And then when you go to that point, it almost breaks people's minds to where, okay, everything I always believed, this person's involved in that person. And so everything collapses at that point because of the people involved that we put our faith into. And it's just, I don't know. Are people ready for that? Are people willing to accept that? Blood money.
I was literally years ago, back in about 10 years ago, right before the Trump election, when the Pizzagate stuff came out and all that, I was studying it and I was saying, oh my God, this is so bad. So since then, I've seen things that are 100 times worse than what I thought was going on. And that broke me. I refuse to even look at it anymore. Look at the subject, because I know and I don't even think what I saw covers what's really going on. But what I saw is something that is so horrific that you couldn't even make it up. You couldn't make a movie about it because it would be so unbelievable. And yet these are factual things going on, and there's video out there. There's documents and testimony, and it's
a level of evil that is so dark.
Off. Even if you're a battle tested warrior, it was like the cops in New York. They looked at the laptop and said they were weeping. These are New York.
Some of them killed themselves afterwards. Like,
right. How do you deal with that at a spiritual human level?
Trying to like unpack what they saw, some of the stuff that Hillary did and things like that.
We shouldn't be talking about this on YouTube, but I would be very sad if I got you kicked off YouTube.
I know. If you haven't seen it yet, I think that they are trying to get people to start thinking about the possibilities. We watched Wonka the other night as a family, and
is it out on DVD, or did you go to a movie theater?
No, we don't go to movie theaters. It's you can pay for it on like I don't know, somehow through like iTunes or whatever. Okay. We bought it. You can buy it or rent it, but it's like $5 difference if you buy it or rent it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a big original Willy Wonka fan. I'm sure all these crazy deep state stuff.
You lose. You get nothing. Goodbye, sir. Good day, sir. Crazy. Goodbye.
I won't run it for you, but there's so many comms in this. There's the little Willy Wonka guy. Then he wants
to wait. If you tell me this, I'll be looking for it. You're gonna rate it for me.
Okay, go watch it.
My ears, and then
your own research.
Go watch it. I won't tell, but you guys go watch it. It has something to do with keeping chocolate under the Vatican.
I'll go away and you can talk about it. I'll put myself.
Many other comms.
I'm sure you're right. I'm absolutely sure you're right, but I don't want to hear about it until I see the movie because it'll destroy the movie for me. I don't want that.
After you see it.
We'll have a whole session on it.
We'll have a whole talk about the comms thing.
You know, I remember this as a kid, and this is the way my mind works, and it's happened many times in my life. But I remember seeing Willy Wonka, and I loved candy when I was a kid. Who didn't? But I was like, man, if I was Willy Wonka, and as soon as I got that everlasting gobstopper, I'd just give it right back to Wonka right then, and I'd win the whole chocolate factory. Completely missing the whole concept of he's trying to determine who's a good person. I'm like, man, had I known, I'd just give back that gobstopper as soon as I got it, and I would have won. That's my world.
Winning. You're not competitive at all, are you?
No, I just when you get into the world of cryptos and gold and silver and fake cheating, lying, and stealing, every once in a while you want to win under your belt.
Yeah. You've had several wins, and you win the most by what you do for the community and bringing so many of us together.
Absolutely.
I love
like in Nashville.
Like in Nashville.
You gotta feed, you gotta be around that community and you get that recharge. I mean, and just get that energy and that fire. I mean, you have it.
The Team Mighty event, and we won't do Team Mighty here in April. We'll skip it, fast forward it to July, and do a big Team Mighty event in Nashville at the Litecoin.
That'd be great.
Summit.
I would love that.
Fun. Maybe we'll do that. I'll call Amy.
Yes, get a hold of Amy.
Her about it.
Talk to Amy.
I'll call the boss.
Talk to my agent.
Talk to your agent and see what's up.
Hey, did you see Bix?
Josh. Oh, his birthday's coming up, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday!
Who's that? Josh? Wait,
yeah,
when is it?
30 in February. Josh.
Yeah, I'm turning a little over 50 here in a few days too.
I'm a little.
All these Aquarians, I know you're a Cancer, and we got a lot of people in our community. The same birthday as you, but I'm one of those Aquarius people.
Amy's 50th is coming up, although I'm not supposed to say how old she is. And my 60th
doesn't look a day over 40. Beautiful.
60th.
First time I saw Amy, at the Litecoin Summit in 2018. I'm like, oh my goodness. No wonder you don't put her on camera. See, Bix holds her back because, oh my goodness, beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Love Amy.
I'll tell her you said so.
Yeah.
She's probably listening right now.
We love our Amy. And Joshy, tell Paigey we said hi. We love them.
Absolutely. Great people. Love them. Hey, Bix, did you see the Baltimore Orioles baseball team? They were sold this week for $1.7 billion. And the people that bought it before was 1993. They bought it for, I think it was $178 million. So in 30 years, that 10x'd. And they're not even a good team. I mean, they're not even a great team. So you got to think, there's inflation right there. There's your monetary system, in a baseball team so people can relate. Imagine if it's the Dallas Cowboys that don't win, but everybody loves them with the star, the 5-pointed star.
What team was it?
The Baltimore Orioles. They did a 10x in 30 years.
The city of Baltimore has been destroyed crazily.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then you think, this is a team that's not that good, and it 10x'd. This is the nature of the system that we're in. And I think if people would realize that and understand that, how your money's devalued and assets, even though, it's not the greatest asset in the Major League Baseball, but it 10x'd in 30 years. Is your salary 10x in 30 years? Are your assets 10xing? And if not, you're losing. So you're playing in the casino and then you're not winning. It's something to kind of look at. It kind of struck me this week.
Yep. I agree. And that goes for almost everything. And over time, you look back and say, oh my God. Yeah. Right. Inflation is cumulative. So, we had 7%, 8% inflation a year ago, and now we got an extra, 3 or 4%. That's 10 or 12%. And that's a fake number.
Yes, they're pulling bacon and what else out of that to figure it or whatever.
You don't get a steak, you get ground beef and ham, just pork steaks. They'll put that into the mix.
Nana's birthday and my husband's birthday are in February as well, and it was just my son's birthday on the 31st. And there's something coming up on Nana's birthday. Nana's the same as George Washington's birthday, and there's something else.
He's not that old.
Not the year. I'm saying, but she's getting close to Trump's age. Not quite, but
He's catching up, is what you're saying?
she's catching up with Trump, I think. But
Because he doesn't get older. He still looks as strong as ever. Well, I might be comparing him to that feeble lump of flesh in the White House.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. Hey, there was a little trivia thing that I dropped in a happy hour a couple of weeks ago. Martin Van Buren was the 8th president of the United States. His grandson is still alive right now.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was born in 1790. His grandson is still alive because, he had so many kids that, one of his sons lived to 90 years old, and then his son now is like 90.
He was like
his grandson of the 8th president is still alive. I mean, it's just mind-blowing when you think about it.
Okay, that Van Buren name there's Van Buren, Arkansas. And then Charlie and I went and looked, one of our like goal dreams is to like be able to retire at this one lake in Arkansas. Beaver Lake. It's this beautiful like rock bottom.
Watch out for the Sasquatches. They're pretty heavily inundated there.
Tons of Sasquatches.
There's beaver there too.
Yes.
There may be some beaver there. I don't know. But there's a road there, or multiple roads called Ventress there. And I've never heard Ventress other than Ventress Gibson. And so we're driving around. I'm like, Ventress? What is all this weird Arkansas connection? And then, of course, I think of Killary and all those weird things. And
that's the way
you have a lot of national parks there. And this is one thing, Bix, that you're influential in my thinking, and I can't help where I go. My mind thinks. National parks, that's something I think we really need to look at. I mean, like you're talking with the gold, I think they lock a lot of things up in national parks, a lot of secrets. There's a lot of things all over the country. And you look at the map and you think, wow, there's a lot of desolate, unexplored areas in these national parks that they've locked up. What are they doing there? And I just throw that out there as a hypothetical.
It's not hypothetical. There's a few people who have studied this, and they don't record the missing people from that.
Exactly. David Politis, missing 411. You look at all those, and what did they see? What did they experience? And why were they taken out? Because they were taken off this planet. They're gone. Really weird circumstances. And you think, what's really there? And so that's kind of the thing that in my, that thing that's right in my claw. Is that why
they're bringing up that they kind of revisited this, where that guy killed his girlfriend or whatever, and the mother was looking for or his mother helped him cover it up or something. And that case is now like coming up, recirculating through the news. And it was like where he like buried her or killed her in a national park or something. I wonder if that's why they're bringing it up.
Well, there's something to the national park. Let's just say that, and if it brings greater awareness to it, then it's probably a good thing, because I don't think there's good things going on in the national parks.
So, Bix, I sent you some of the stuff with Uncle Cliff. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
What did you send me? I don't think I got anything.
All the stuff about the Indian reparation stuff, all the dams and waterways and stuff.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah. I don't know where you want to go with it, but I do believe that, the Indian casino thing. Now there's Indian casinos everywhere. It was a way to pay the Native Americans because we took all their gold, or we didn't take it. We didn't give them ability to use it or mine it. You cannot on the Navajo Nation, right in the Grand Canyon, massive area on the side of the Colorado River. You can't mine there. Not even the Navajo can, or any other nations that are there. And in lieu of that, they gave the Native Americans, I think any tribe now, the ability to, number one, prove that this is a site where their ancestors were. And number two, you can put an Indian casino on it, as they call it, a Native American casino now, probably. And that's a money printing machine. So massive amounts of money go into the Native Americans from the ruling, the way they did it. I think it was John McCain that did it or helped sponsor the bill, because he was in Arizona. And I think, absolutely. or not, why not just allow them to tell the world what they have on their land, which is massive amounts of gold, more gold than you can even imagine. So yeah, interesting times.
I just think there's also like that's it. That goes into a whole rabbit hole of when you talk about missing. People were seeing or lining up when Trump was doing those rallies. Nothing can stop what is coming. Native, whatever, indigenous women, infant, and children. If you go to that, and like with my work in foster care and all that, I know how that there's like a tribal court system, and then there's the other court system, and they would allow children to be in the other court system up until the kids were to be adopted. And then they didn't want to lose the money that they were getting from federal dollars. So then they would pull kids back. And they were not reporting kids when they were missing. They were not reporting kids when they were AWOL, whatever. And so I think there is, there's evil everywhere. And some of that may come out as well, as what I would have to say about all of that. But I should probably watch my words as well.
Well, I think it's spiritual war. I've always thought that. And Bix, you said that, I've said that, to where we are born to be here for this reason. We chose to make this journey. Sometimes I think, why did I do that? But, it is what it is. And you're here and you've got power, you've got energy, you've got an ability to project, truth to the masses with that megaphone. And I think it's very important if you've got an ability to do that and you have some truth to share that. And so many people, they get frustrated by all the noise. They get frustrated by, all of the mass media, which is, it's controlled mockingbird press that, is just, money out of nothing that creates it. And, those are all sellouts. They're all, the glitz and glam, the bells, not clocks on the wall in the vampire casino. So you can't get out. You can't find the exit. And I think that there are a lot of good people out there that, what you've said, what crypto has done, there are things out there that have been put in our path, in this life, to where we can bring people together to help awaken people. And I think that's really how we win, is realize this is all temporal, this is all BS, it's all theater. And you've got to look inside and trust yourself and know what you're here for, where you came from, and find that truth. And once you do, you can put that out there and it resonates with someone else and it changes their life. It helps them to activate. And I think we need people to activate at a deep spiritual level and say enough is enough. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That kind of thing, network. But that I think is really the vibe that I get. And that's why I love Bix, and I love that he's on here. And Lisa, what we do in Happy Hour, what we do, the conversations we have, I think that's really it. We have to, as individuals, just say, hey, you know what? This is all wrong. This is all effed up. This is all fake. This is all an illusion. The dollar, look at it. You got aliens all over it. You get all this symbolism. That's what they give us. And they laugh at us because they put, a freedom warrior, George Washington, on the front. But then, they laugh at us on the back because they have all this symbolism. And it's in your face. And I think at a deep level, we understand that. It's just that don't live that life of quiet desperation where you don't do something, because you all have something to offer and you have to get it out there and speak the truth, and someone will hear it. And that changes the world. When you have a world of darkness and one match lights up and then another match lights up, and pretty soon, you live in a world of light. And vampires cannot live in light. They cannot live in the light of truth. And it's so important, I think, that we don't underestimate ourselves and realize we are the energy. We are the energy that they want to take. And that's what they do. They want to steal it. So don't let them steal it.
Yeah. And Bix, you have been like a light to not just my family, but so many. And I'm so grateful. And that's where I want to tell you thank you. And I love you. And I'm just so grateful that you've like sparked that little light in me. And I get fired up and excited, and you've educated me on so much and sent me on my way, but allowed me to like be myself and find my way and bump my knee on a few coffee tables here and there.
I don't have to research any of the conspiracy stuff anymore. I just turn on your channel.
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go.
Isn't that a great feeling, though, to where it's like you've been living in this darkness for so long, and then you see other people lighting the match in the darkness, and then you see other people just following their path, following their truth, believing in themselves, and awakening. I mean, and that's really what it is, just awaken to that spirit that's inside of you and just, inspire other people. I mean, to be able to do that, I mean, that is such an important thing. And you've done that with so many people. I mean, everybody I interact with, every time I go to a meetup, it's like, oh, Big's weird, and then all the people in the chat, and it's like, yeah, Big's brought me here, and it's just, it's such a great thing. It's such an empowering thing.
I think it's never too late too. It's never too late to.
Never.
I had my sister-in-law come up to me, who I've known for a very long time. And she was like, oh my God, can you believe what happened on 9/11? And I'm like, what? What can I believe?
What part of it?
Which part?
Oh my God, there was a building that fell down that wasn't hit by an airplane. And I'm like, oh my God, how long have you known me? I have failed miserably with my family members because they just say, They closed their minds and their ears. This was over 20 years ago that we should have known all this stuff was what was real and what was fake. The world changed after that day, not for the better. And it wasn't because there were 19 hijackers. It was a completely different thing with a different
box cutters.
With box cutters. And in Pennsylvania, the plane crashed so fast into the ground that it disintegrated, and there are no parts left.
Except for all the passports.
The Pentagon. Oh,
Except for all the paper passports, they're fine.
Yeah, we found those.
9/11, that was the classic.
Yeah,
we found the passports.
Mm-hmm. We know who did it.
Oh my gosh! But that's that thing. Like in parenting, I learned God gives you a toolbox, and not every challenge your child has is your job to fix. When you go through life, not everything you run across is your problem to fix. If you don't have the tool in your toolbox, not your job. Sometimes it's not your job. And it's
hard to learn as a parent.
It is hard. That's a hard lesson to learn. But that's where when we come together as a community, then sometimes I have to send them to my buddy Bix, and sometimes I have to send them to my buddy Westwood, and sometimes I have to just smile and nod and give them a big hug and move on. I have to walk off. I don't know. But I do think that it is going to be, everybody's got to lift themselves up. I think that's what we're coming to, is that taking personal responsibility for your health, your wealth, your financial responsibility, your personal safety, all of that. We all have to grow the F up. It's time for all of that. So I
agree. I agree with that. Everybody, so many people, you take crypto, for example. We've gone on the road many times, and you try to wake people up with crypto. That's a tool to wake people up. And you find a lot of great people, and they're like, man, I'm so glad I'm here because I can't talk to anybody else about this stuff. Oh my gosh, nobody listens to me, and it's just like, it is what it is. I mean, your own family members, and they shut you down, and you can't let that discourage you. And like you said, Bix, it is never, ever too late. And I think we'll be taken to the brink, we'll be taken to the edge thinking it's all over. I mean, we feel it, it happens time to time to where we're like, I don't even know. Is it even worth it anymore? Is it even worth, telling anybody in this? I scream and scream and preach to the trees, preach to the forest. And does anybody hear me? But it's just like they do hear you. And at some point, they're just not, they can't, it takes time. It's just like getting into crypto. It's like the first time you got into it, you think, and I use that as an analogy. The first time you get into it, it's like, I don't know. I can't hold it in my hand, all these things. And then when you get it, you get it. And it takes time for people to get things. But the thing is, you just have to keep putting the information out. And I love that you're still doing it. You can just walk away and say, I'm done. F it, whatever. I'm disappearing. I'm going to go full Sasquatch. I'm out, and you could do that. But it's, the fact that, as long as you can breathe, as long as you have energy, as long as you have something to put out there, that somebody is going to wake up And that's what keeps me going. I think that's what keeps you going, is that somebody is going to wake up, and if I didn't give everything that I had, then what am I doing? Why am I just going to just walk off into the sunset, buy an island and do that kind of thing? Because islands are not good, especially if you're a submarine captain, that travels around those islands, those kind of things. I mean, but it's just, you just keep going forward, you keep moving forward, because it's a very short life, and you do not want to live a life of regret. You want to put that truth out there. You want to tell people, and they'll come to it at their own pace. They have their own journey. And I say there are many paths to the top of the mountain. Some people shoot right up. They find the path. Some people got to wind around and around and around and around. And finally they get there. It's like, it's about time, geez. I've been cooking food for how long up here? This fire's been burning. And it's just, you can't ever give up. Because I will never give up on humanity. I don't think any of us want to give up on humanity. And that's why we do what we do, is just because, as long as there's an opportunity to figure it out, keep putting the truth out there, because people will come to it when it's their time. And some people may never get there, and, they'll recycle, I guess.
Yeah, there's a thing in Oklahoma right now. I'm seeing little, Bix, you're really confirming things for me, saying look at the battles, not the big war thing. And I guess I need to count those battles as wins to get through the war, because you'll get burnt out otherwise. But look at the universe doing these confirmations in Oklahoma. They're talking about, they call me the Hopium hustler, and you guys tease me sometimes and whatever, but they're starting this new campaign about hope rising in Oklahoma, and they're going to look at changing. And let me play this real quick.
Of Oklahoma, and the director of the Hope Research Center. I'm a psychologist by training, and for approximately the last 17 years, I have been studying the science of hope. One of the things that our research is identifying is that when an individual tends to have higher levels of hope, a leader, for example, in an organization who tends to be hopeful, what we see is significant increases in creativity. Hope is a contagious factor that we can observe in others, and it creates a sense of energy and this idea that we can pursue the future that we desire. One of the most amazing things that I've observed in helping organizations and communities learn about the science of hope is a realization that hope is a social gift. Hope is not something that happens in isolation within the individual. It happens in relationships. And in fact, what we see is that when an employee has higher levels of hope, it tends to be contagious to the communities that they're serving. And what we see is significant improvements in well-being in those being served. And so as I see individuals and organizations learn more about the science of hope, it creates an opportunity for intentional relationship building, where well-being is always the outcome. I am so excited about the state of Oklahoma becoming the first hope center.
It's starting again.
People around the world are watching Oklahoma instill hope into our communities, and they're looking to us to guide them as they begin to transcend this to their states, to their communities, to their nations.
Hope Center, which I think is weird that we would be the first of anything, because Oklahoma is usually behind on things. But
you know what it reminds me of? Have you ever seen, oh my God, what's it called? Hector and the Search for Happiness?
No.
Oh my God. Hysterical. Simon Pegg. So funny. Check it out. Hector and the Search for Happiness. Oh, it's a hysterical movie.
Okay, I will watch it, because what it made me think of is I was watching one of those documentaries about the happiest people in the world, and they had a section where they did a study about people that were that had cancer or something, and it was the people that had hope recovered better than the people that didn't. And it really was it really was just they did these studies, and it was well, it really didn't have any
it should be obvious. I mean, I think knowing that we're spiritual beings living in this sack of meat,
yeah,
the spiritual feeling, hope is vibrational. I mean, it ups your vibration. It's a healing type of energy.
Well, that's where I think, like, the reason you have to keep showing up for everybody, because you are a community leader and you bring us all hope. And if you bailed on us, like, can you imagine how that would change the frequency? Everybody would be like, what the hell? Bix just gave up on all of us. Well, now we would start doubting ourselves. And yes, we have to all make this decision and not be tribal and all that. But we all do look to the light of each other, you know, um, to confirm our own beliefs. I understand that. You know, we need each other. Community is important. So
Big hugs, community, and I've told this story before. It's a very short story, so you don't get bored. But when I went into teaching, that's my degree. Still have my teaching degree. I'm still certified in the state of Illinois. I could teach, but when I was student teaching, they interview you, and they have the big Channel 1 cameras, or the TVs in all the classrooms. They have the network news that is fed out. But they did the little interview at the small school in the middle of the cornfields, the GMO corn. And they interviewed me and said, "Oh, why did you go into teaching? You're a student teaching. You want to be a teacher. Why did you go into teaching?" And the thing that I came up with, and it still exists to this day. Why do I do what I do? It's to inspire people, because I'm not going to be your leader. I am not going to be the one that changes your life. You change your life. And if I have the ability to light that match, to light that fire, to inspire you to be who you were born to be, then mission accomplished. I mean, not George Bush 2003 on the aircraft carrier, mission accomplished. No, it's you've accomplished a mission at that point, to become who you were born to be. And, anybody who can inspire someone else to do that, that changes the whole world. Because when you change someone's life, change their mindset to become hopeful, to become that person who is going to do better and leave it better than they found it. I mean, what more gratification can you have in this life? Because that is a spiritual thing, and that's what we're talking about. We're getting down to that. We're drilling into it. It is a spiritual thing. We're on a spiritual path. We're here for a reason. And I mean, what greater thing than someone that, through words, through actions, through art, through, whatever manifests out of your soul that you can put out there that somebody looks at, somebody hears, and it changes them, and really doesn't even change them. It just reactivates who they are and helps them remember why they're here to do better. I mean, that to me is everything. So inspiration, that fire, inspire, breathe, life, the word, the breath, that whole root word of inspiration, aspiration. I mean, to me, that is the most important thing. And that's why I love the big hugs, and I love to be around community. I love to see people and feel people. And if I didn't know Litecoin Lisa, I would be here playing with the dogs. But she gets me out there, hopefully, that I can inspire people.
She gets you out there feeling people.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, oh, wow, and you just get invigorated, So that's why, we want to see you again, because we love your fire. I mean, we really do. And
well, Amy just goes for the Westwood hugs, I think.
Well, hey, that's all right. If she can drag you along because she's looking for a Westwood hug, then fine. Bring your guitar, bring your music, bring your voice.
Bring the ukulele.
It affects so many people that I can't affect. But if I can affect Amy to affect you, to affect a greater audience, then I win.
You win anyway.
Yeah. I know Johnny said he's going to be there. We've got
when is that? July?
It's in July
24th and 25th in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I love Nashville.
Yeah, I have not been in a long time, so I'm kind of excited about it.
Only like a 5.5 hour, 6 hour drive for me, so I'm like stoked. It's not Vegas. I don't have to fly, so I'm good with that. A long journey for you.
Stoked it's not Vegas.
I can fly out here.
Oh man, what a night!
I'll pick you up at the airport and I'll carry your bags.
Oh, I heard that. We'd probably take the RV. It's in the shop again for the 99th time.
Are you serious?
What is going on with that? You took forever to get it, and then you get it, and then you're on the road, and then now you can't go on the road.
Think about it. You take 100 different manufacturers and you throw it all on something that bounces down the road and has 4-wheel drive capabilities. You're gonna jar some things, but it was a new model from Winnebago, all-wheel drive. It just had a lot of things that went wrong, and they covered everything.
That's awesome.
And it's about an hour drive to get to the fucking repair shop that's authorized to do these things. So I'm like, All right, Amy, here we go again.
Oh,
I love it still.
adventures. Yeah, I still have my RV goal. That's one of my goals. I have all my Litecoin wishes.
Javier wants that diesel pusher. He's not going, or he's not going EV. He wants the diesel pusher. So
Cliff wants a flying RV.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I mean they're out there. They're starting to come out. I mean, you see some of these flying vehicles.
I found one that has a detachable helicopter, and I sent it to him. I was like, I think this is your thing. It has like a detachable personal helicopter part with it, and then
win 4-digit Litecoin.
Yeah.
I don't think he's worried about that.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But I do remember in old videos, where Cliff talked about Litecoin. He says he loves the code of Litecoin. It's very beautiful. So, I'm sticking to that.
Interesting.
I love Litecoin. I mean, I like Litecoin a hell of a lot better. I like Bitcoin.
Oh gosh, you can actually use it.
But I think when the system falls apart, and all these guys like Saylor and JP Morgan and all the Bitcoin ETFs, they're all going to have to sell their Bitcoin to stay solvent or try to stay solvent. I mean, when an entity goes belly up, they have to sell all their liquid assets, and then they can declare bankruptcy. So, like Michael Saylor has a hell of a lot of Bitcoin, but he also has a company that is leveraged to a certain
casino.
But the reality is, I don't think he can shut everything off but keep his Bitcoin. He's going to have to liquidate his Bitcoin if the system falls apart.
Well, fortunately, there's another layer that's been put in place, that they're controlling with the ETF.
But none of them have Litecoin is the beautiful thing. And
I think there's a song about that. Maybe somebody should break out the guitar. Hey, a means of exchange. That's good for the people, isn't it?
Litecoin is the right coin, baby.
I'm telling you.
Publicly. I had some other friends that I was talking to, and they have a couple different projects, and they were talking about how actually they were challenging some of the privacy coins because they were like, the minute, they're private until they're not, until you have to get on an exchange and you KYC yourself. And then here's my privacy coin that I'm swapping, but I KYC'd myself to swap my privacy coin.
But you wouldn't, and they wouldn't allow, I don't think they'd allow in the new regime, any privacy coins to be bought and sold on a regulated exchange.
Well, not in the US, but in other countries or whatever.
But you can always go down to your local, look in the paper, see who's selling Monero, and go down, meet them at the grocery store in the parking lot with cash, and it's done deal.
That seems
right. Go to Craigslist. I mean, there are people taking, go look at cryptocurrency is okay. And you see it on a lot of ads, if you want to buy something and you find those communities, because that's what it is. It's a peer-to-peer electronic transaction.
They have meetups, crypto meetups.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way we used to do it. In the early days, there weren't any exchanges. I mean, I was wiring money to like Istanbul to get a Bitcoin, and I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know it would show up in my wallet. I was MoneyGramming. It was called MoneyGramming back in the day, and we didn't even know the price of these things. It wasn't anywhere we could find out the price. There was no exchanges. It was like
okay, I got it. Man, I mean, but that's important though, isn't it? I mean, the fact that you have it in your possession and have the tools to have it in your possession. Once you have it in your possession, it doesn't matter if the banks crash. It doesn't matter what regulations they put in. I mean, as long as the last computer's running, you can still go peer-to-peer.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the early days of cryptos where
there
is no trust involved in that though.
Like, there isn't. Well, yeah, to Istanbul, but not to going down to your local market and meeting in.
When you have it,
Dick Allgaier got his first Bitcoin. He went down with 10 grand in cash and met somebody at the local market. That's the way cryptos were meant to be in the beginning. That's
the way until it confirmed to his wallet and then said, "Okay, here's the 10 grand."
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what she is. Somebody comes and buys a Digibug and they want to pay in Litecoin. I'm like, okay, boom, there it is. All right, here's the title. Get out of here.
Yeah, there won't be any exchanges up and running when the banks crash.
No, because we've built our own system. We've got our own network. And I mean, that's the important thing about crypto that people don't realize. And I mean, I go to coin shows, in Bix. You'll appreciate this. you see a lot of the old guys in coin shows, and my dad goes and sets up a table. There's another guy, St. Jerome, his YouTube channel, he lives around here, and we go to these coin shows and have these tables, and dad's got, silver and this and that, and we got a big sign up that says accepting crypto, and then the one old guy at the end of the show, how'd you do, selling your crypto? I said, no, we were taking crypto for silver. He's kind of like, and I had this discussion with him, and we got into the whole thing of, he's like, well, I got this wad of cash. I can do anything I want with this cash. So here you are, old guy that understands silver, but, is still holding on to this old system and the fiat dollars. Well, I can go anywhere with this. I said, can you go to the airport with $10,000 in cash? Nope. You can take your crypto in your head, or on, however you want to do it, and restore your value anywhere in the world, and you can do that. And so it's a different form of money that a lot of people can't get their heads around, but it is a freedom thing that, we got to look at all aspects of it. We're all silver bugs to begin with because we have it in our hand. But when you realize that, hey, we got this network that's been running over 12 years nonstop, that's going to validate the transaction anywhere in the world, and you can take that wealth and exit if you want to, like some of the movie stars say, if Trump, like they said in 2016, they didn't leave. Oh, if Trump becomes president, I'm out of here. Okay, where are you going?
Why are they? Yeah.
But it gives you that tool, and understanding what that tool is and understanding the technology, because we are going into a digital world. If we're not going Mad Max, we have to embrace that digital structure, because, face it, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it weren't for the technology. So, we gotta kind of realize that and not be, a hermit, and just back off from progress, because, if we do that, then we wouldn't have been here, if our ancestors, did not embrace progress. So
I'm making a short of that quote right there.
There you go.
Not be a hermit, and we have to.
But Lisa's gonna bring that up to me next time we're going on the road. She's like, "Don't be a hermit."
Sending it to you.
If we did go Mad Max, silver and gold wouldn't be worth anything. They'd be worthless as well. And
you become a big target then, don't you? I mean, it's like a bunch of vagabonds coming after everything you have. So,
hey, I gotta take this call real quick. I'll be back in a minute. Okay. 1 minute.
We'll miss you terribly. Okay, I'm gonna take him off the screen just
put him on mute,
but then he can come back on whenever he wants.
Yeah, we don't want any inside information getting spilled here.
I know. Very hot.
It's I love it. I love that, there's so many people in the chat, and that's what it's really about. It's about awakening people.
Yeah,
like I said before, it's just, realize how the power that we have and all the deception that they've created to steal our power, our energy, our eyes, whatever it is, whatever energy that we put out, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to steal that. And they try to say, hey, look, dollar bill, y'all. And it's just, put your energy into things that don't matter. And that's what they want to do. They want you playing in that casino. They want you to give up the power, the sovereignty that you have as a soul, your sovereign control of your soul, sovereignty. That's what they want to do. And they deceive you into doing things that, is not right. And you feel it in your gut. And that's why so many people feel that something's not right. This doesn't feel right. Why are we doing this? Well, don't do it anymore. I mean, just don't, and exit, and just and find ways to, be around people who think the same way. And that's why I do what I do here, and that's, we meet people and we bring people together, and it's all about community. It's at the grassroots level. We don't need top-down control. These idiots, these cardboard cutouts, these paper bowls, these paper tigers that are put in front of us, on this AI screen at this point, they don't matter. What matters is your energy and what you do with it on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I don't care who cares who the president is. What difference does it make at this point? What difference does it make?
Well, I think Biden's proving that it doesn't make a difference. I mean, he's not making any difference. So,
bomb, 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 Iran, bomb, bomb, bomb.
Oh, did you hear it? We are now actively bombing Syria, Syria.
Yeah,
I think
we're using a proxy, but we are using.
I heard we did it ourselves.
Them using a proxy.
I heard it was our jets bombing today.
Yep,
like
an hour ago.
Yeah, right before we went on, about a half an hour
I
before.
thought we were just paying somebody to kill somebody.
No. We're doing it. I mean, I shouldn't say we. The powers that be, the vampires, are doing it because they are desperate.
Do something before. I mean, it's not like. Can you imagine a Trump-Biden debate? No, they're going to have to blow something up or get some nukes lobbed into the United States of America to wake people up. What is it that's going to wake up America more than we are awake now? I mean, literally, I live in California. There's some fucking stupid people here who have no idea what's going on. And how could they? All they do is listen to CNN, and it's just embarrassing.
Iraq and Syria.
Yeah, Iraq and Syria, but not Iran yet. That's coming. Well, I didn't even know we had a base in Jordan, when these 3 people got shot down and killed. Yeah. And I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, yeah, I realize, we have an empire everywhere, but we got a base in Jordan? What are we doing in Jordan? I mean,
You guys remember that Art Bell time traveler from 2000?
Yeah, John Teeter.
Part of that, what he said is like Russia ends the war by lobbing 3 nuclear bombs on 3 cities in the United States of America.
It's all right, enough.
It's like, what do you mean Russia? We're friends with Russia. And all of a sudden now we're on the brink of global thermonuclear war, as they said in that 19 favorite war games. Exactly.
The only way to win is not to play the game. That was the lesson of that movie. You find a way not to play the game.
So yeah, it's a mess, and we might get to that. We might get to that. We're all gonna die someday anyway. It would suck to die like that, but hell, go down fighting in some way. Fight your local battles. We're all gonna die. This might be.
Then is that how we all ascend? Like, not to get real heady, I mean, but like, is that how you go to the next? Oh, wait, I have Bix not covered up. Hold on, let me cover myself up. Is that how we all go to the next level? Like, that gets a little.
I don't want that though. I came back one more time. This is it. I don't want to come back again.
You don't want to. I mean, we're in the show, the big show. Right. You don't want to give this up until you have to. So do all you can while you're here. Yeah. And then if when you're done, you're done. And then you get to come again or figure out what you want to do next. The reality of being afraid of dying is going to just be the worst thing you can. Fear is a crippling.
No, I'm not afraid of it. But like, I think a lot of the people that
I'm afraid I'm not going to get my Social Security
reboot.
Yeah. But the people live in fear, a crippling fear every day. And it's the fear that kills you. And
wear a mask. Put your mask on. Because stay 6 feet apart. Don't talk to anybody. Don't touch anybody.
They use it, and all it does is stop you from fulfilling whatever you goddamn came down here to do. You came here to do something, and you get off your ass and do it because nobody has much time left. Even I don't care if you're 60 or you're 10. If you're 10, you maybe got 80 years left. If you're 60, you got 30 years left. Who cares? Do something and do it as fast as you can and be on the side of the good. My God. Yeah. You don't want to be on the side of the bad when you're judging yourself in the next life.
Yeah.
Don't live a life of regret. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. What was it, the Steve McQueen movie where he's out in the desert? I don't know what it was. And he said this vision of this entity that comes to him and says, you are guilty of a wasted life.
Get a refill.
And it's just like, that's what it is. It's like, why, what are you waiting for? Why are you wasting your life? Because at the end of it, you'll get to a point. It's like all these people, hey, when I retire, I'm going to go on vacation and do all these things. And then you need 2 hip replacements and you need all these things. And it's just, if you're not doing it now, you're never going to do it. That's the most important thing. So you got to do it now. Use the energy that you have, this vessel that you have, and do those things and project that energy from the spirit, that fire that you were born with, put it out there into the universe. And to hell with what happens. Who cares? It's your truth. And so live your truth. That's it. It's that simple. And the lovely Litecoin Lisa has left the building.
Gone. She's out.
I don't know.
This has left the building.
Yep.
Well, Clint, I think we should get together somewhere. I agree. Nashville sounds like a great place to do it. this year, but I just have to get the clear the date, as they say, and talk to the lovely Amy, and hopefully Paige and Josh are off living their lives. Maybe we can take him out of retirement.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, put the band back together because we're on a mission from God.
Time to put the band back together. We're headed down there in a couple of weeks for Josh's birthday, so we'll put the sell point on. But they have lives now. They're so busy doing great stuff, and I don't want to like, oh shit, Bix is saying he wants us on the road again, and they got lives to lead. Oh my God, there's Josh. Yes, let's go. Well,
there you go. You got your answer.
We'll talk him into that one.
Yeah, twist my arm. Oh, okay. No, I think it'd be a great time. I really do. It'll be a good moment. Yeah. There's a lot of energy building, and I think that it might coalesce, and that'll be a good point to kick it off.
All right, we'll work on it.
Keep the fire burning, brother.
Absolutely. Oh, Lord. So, yeah, everybody, in case you didn't get the message, buy silver and cryptos and put them in your own possession because, I mean, obviously we're seeing it with the FTX stuff. You're not going to get your cryptos back. No. I hear they already, what's the other one? Celsius. Is it Celsius?
Yeah.
Celsius made an agreement with the SEC, but part of that agreement was all the Celsius altcoins had to be sold to suppress the price. It went into Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then they're taking, because what they were doing was illegal, they're taking that. They've turned it into a mining company now.
Oh yeah, so they can mine out the last 2 million Bitcoin and they can control it. You know what I mean? It's like a race, to get the last scraps off the table.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question about that. When they launch these mining companies, don't they go ahead and make contracts for mining in the future? So,
with BlackRock probably, so that they get all the existing or
couldn't it all already be theoretically contracted out?
Who are you talking about?
These companies that went out of business.
Any of the Bitcoin, couldn't the Bitcoin already be contracted out as mined?
For what are you talking about?
Couldn't this price already be in or set because it's already been mined by contract?
You mean on a derivative contract type of a short? Yeah, you can short Bitcoin. You don't need to have a miner for that.
Right, because whoever is.
You can go long Bitcoin too. I mean, Bitcoin has now been derivatized.
So that's what controlled it, though, wasn't it? Like after 2017, when they saw the big run up, they're like, "Oh shit!" People are getting into this, and then they bring out the futures. They bring out all these control structures.
Right, but it's got. I mean, for Celsius, the big thing, the reason the SEC approved it, and they had to approve it, was that they were going to get Celsius to sell off all the altcoins because Gary Gensler and friends have a hard time suppressing the price of altcoins. Bitcoin's easy. They just, they just take the FTX Bitcoin and say, okay, you're only getting cash. We're going to sell off the Bitcoin over 10 years like they did with Mt. Gox. With the altcoins, it's kind of harder because not many altcoins are stuck in these crazy schemes. But they are. That's one of the reasons I love that Theta isn't involved in many exchanges. Is
got its own blockchain.
Other than is the big mother plucker.
And look what they're doing with the ETFs, though. I mean, you brought it up, and then you look at it, it's the same players. It's Virtue Financial. It's all these big players. JP Morgan, is one of the authorized, whatever, the middlemen, basically. And the SEC, that was one of their requirements before these ETFs were approved. Over half of them said, oh, it's going to be cash settled, if anything happens. So it's just isn't it just like the silver ETFs, to where it's well, you got your Bitcoin, you kind of got your Bitcoin, you kind of lost your money. It's that Trevon James thing with BitConnect. It's the same old game over and over and over again, to where they're going to cash settle you. And what's cash? It means nothing. It's like the underlying asset they want to control, and they want to have it in this overlay, this overlayer, this new system, meet the new boss, same as the old boss BS. I mean, isn't that what they're just doing over and over again? And most people, just because I see it on Wall Street, I see it on CNBC, they're like, oh, great, the ETFs. Now we don't have to self-custody. It's so easy now, where you can roll your money in and it's all protected and backed up. And come on,
by definition, the ETFs are owned by Seed and Company at the DTCC by definition.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's the worst thing.
You seed your power. You seed your energy to them. I mean, they just laugh at you. I mean, the names they use.
Are you guys trying to? It's not the Weir Winery.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Well, I can't remember. You owe me a bottle.
So my family.
Let's open it with a boot on the wall.
It's a vineyard. We don't make the wine. We have people that make it for us. Some of the best Pinot makers in the world. You can get it, I think, online. Like Brooksnote has a Weir called Brooksnote Winery. Talisman Winery.
Talisman, yes, that's the one Mom drinks.
Williams Cellium, but you got to be on a 10-year waiting list to get that one.
Talisman.
Yeah.
Winery.
That was some of the best wine I ever had. You know, when you brought that out there.
It's pricey though. The warning.
That's the one Mom drinks, I think.
Get what you pay for.
Your mom drinks Talisman?
Yeah.
Is she a big money person?
Well, she loves Big Swear.
Oh, those are the bottles I gave her.
Brand.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, now I get it.
I had one here.
It's good. If you like Pinot Noir, it's the best in the world.
We drank it when you were here.
There you go. There you have it. But it's not the Weir Winery. It's a Weir Vineyard.
Weir Vineyard. Okay. Yeah.
But no, we don't sell retail or anything like that. We have other people. We just have the grapes.
Oh, okay. So they buy the grapes from you, and then
they buy the grapes from us. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
So they have it.
That's how you win.
Funny.
Have the asset in your own possession.
Remember back in the day? I don't even know if you remember this. And Uncle Cliff mentioned it the other day, where he said, if I had something, I would make a Reggie beer, and I would put his patents on the beer. And I about flipped out, because way back when I was first following you and Uncle Cliff and Bitcoin Ben and Snippy, and I think that's pretty much it. And I was like, oh, I want to have a Bitcoin Ben brew and an Uncle Cliff IPA and a Wix beer, my Wix beer. And then I was like, oh, I'll be the blonde beer. I'll be Litecoin Lisa brew. And then we've gotten into, like, now we need a Jenny Moonstone. She was going to be the witch's brew.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she was going to be, because when I learned about all this beer and root beer and stuff with the mushrooms and all that, and like how the root beer and the witches and why they killed women and called them witches and all that crazy stuff. Like, there's some crazy stuff in history. Anyway, so Jenny needs one. And then we were going to make a Snippy Sippy, because he likes wine coolers. Yeah, but he's not offended by that, because he knows he likes it. He loves them. And but then Westwood likes whiskey. So then I was like, oh, now we gotta
have a Westwood whiskey somewhere in there.
Yeah, we got to have a distillery. And then
you can have custom product made for you, and you can just put the label on it. Absolutely. On beer, on wine, on spirits.
But then my thought was, like, by the time we could afford to do this, we can't afford the metal to have the brewery and the distillery.
Copper's too expensive.
Because the copper,
silver lined big
silver lined barrels, aged in silver barrels.
Yeah, all these.
You're thinking too much now.
But I'm like, well, now we need a winery for, like, Amy and my mom. They love wine.
There you go. Amy's into champagne now.
Of course, bubbly Amy. Of course, bubbly Amy wine, champagne. That's perfect for her. And then Amy, happy bubbles for Amy. And then Road to Bruta. Yeah.
Road to Bruta. There you go.
Oh man, life. We have so much to look forward to. Like, I'm really excited about, and I think about, like, your picture behind you of, like, Road to Route A.
Yep.
And that being a coding, right?
The Route A.
Route A is a coding or a type of coding, right?
It is it's from the root tree structure of the original computer programs written in Fortran for the creation of the banking system.
Fortran, not 4chan.
Fortran. Fortran is like the second shareable. It was a upgrade from Basic. A guy named John Kimeny invented Basic in the early 60s. And Fortran was like an upgrade from Basic that Alan Greenspan perfected in the late 60s, early 70s. And they used Fortran to program the first financial system electronically.
How was I being taught Basic in high school in the 80s?
Oh, it's the first shareable computer program. So it was
If then go to
yeah, and then yeah, XYZ.
Besides AI.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, without the invention of Basic, the world would be very different. I mean, the government had their own computer languages back then, but it wasn't like shareable. And John Kimeny, the guy who invented it, was very adamant. I'm not gonna patent this. This is open source. This is your first open source. This is the original shareable computer software.
Does open source just mean shareable?
Open source means
anybody can develop on it.
It's like the blockchain. You can look. It's open source. You can look at it, and if it's immutable, of course,
cannot be changed.
Yeah, the immutable part. But that's for blockchain. That's for Bitcoin, not a computer language like Basic. You can program in anything you want using Basic, using their structure, or you can go to Fortran, and now it's like embedded in everything, and there's so many layers on top. Cliff would be better to explain.
I want to get your thoughts on this, but from a research standpoint, Bix. One thing that's always kind of in the back of my mind. Every blockchain, it operates under an MIT license, and I mean, it's almost like, is this a good guy, bad guy thing, to where you've got an MIT license?
Well, in what world is an MIT license enforceable?
Well, yeah, no, I get it. No, and it's just an interesting thing to me, because you see the players that come out of MIT, good, bad, ugly.
Are you talking about Caroline Ellison?
Man, her daddy, and Gary Gensler.
Yeah, and then you got
but Carly Lee came out of there too, and so you look at the whole MIT license. All these blockchains, I think they operate under an open source MIT license.
Professor at MIT.
Who was
John Trump.
Oh, there you go. There's not many dummies.
Gun, what's the weapon? Who's shooting it? I guess.
Just a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's just an interesting thing. Like National Forest to me, it's an interesting thing that runs through my head, when I wake up in the morning. Like, what did I dream about? I don't know. I saw a vision of 24% Litecoin up, when nothing else went up, so I'm waiting for that to fulfill itself. Join my Patreon, and then you can get more dreams and visions,
You're so funny.
I don't have a Patreon.
I was gonna say,
my Patreon.
You join Lisa's Patreon.
Yeah.
Follow myself. Trust myself. Anyway.
So nobody asked me a question, huh?
Well, there's all kinds of questions. Everybody wants to know when moon, right?
Paying attention.
When silver.
Are there any all caps in the chat? Sorry, I was paying attention to you boys. Josh Lake says,
yes, let's go. That's not a question. It's all caps.
I saw so we went to an estate sale today, and it was Silver Lake, and I thought of Joshy Lake.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's his Twitter handle.
Silver Lake.
Oil. Top Shot Hernandez is asking about oil.
Okay.
Oil's been going down.
Is that the question? Oil.
I don't know.
Oil is the price of oil is determined on the derivatives market, just like everything else. It is the largest asset bought and sold. Oil and the oil derivatives, meaning oil and gas, Henry Hub oil, light sweet crude, you name it. There's a zillion different derivatives that control the oil markets. And yeah, they trade in hundreds of times what the underlying barrels are. The U.S. government is highly involved in oil rigging. They lie about how much they have in the strategic oil reserves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Short-term
Is that a survey too?
No, that's the government telling you what they have, as if you believe anything the government says.
Right.
But they use it to slam the price of oil down and shit like that.
Well, when it was negative $40 a barrel, I said, "Hey, bring it all here and pay me the $40. I'll store as much as you want."
That's what Oklahoma did.
Yeah, I mean, nobody took delivery on minus $40. Unfortunately, they canceled a lot of those trades because even the banks were losing money.
No, they took delivery here in Cushing, Oklahoma.
So you're telling me, Lisa,
they filled up?
Ooh, well, yeah, it filled up, but
who filled it up?
Who paid them?
And he said, no, he said Mexico will pay us back later in another way. And that's how we will get silver.
What's that got to do with the COMEX?
In another way. Well, it'll get taken out of the COMEX.
Who's he? Oh, you're talking Trump?
Yes.
Is that when was Trump in when
it was on his birthday?
$40?
It was on his birthday. And
well, there you go. Now you know who rigged the oil market to minus $40. It was Trump.
It's fine, because you know who is the oil markets is the tycoon families who got rid of hemp that could have actually been for we the people.
Right, but who was hurt by the minus $40? Who got financially removed from the COMEX on a stretcher?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question. I know they forgave a lot of the trades because it was it was a joke, but at the same time, there were people taken out, and the COMEX gets to pick and choose who they remove from the field of play.
So this is like never let a good crisis go to waste kind of thing.
It wasn't a crisis. Trump rigged it to minus $40. It's not a crisis. It's a fact. If you're short, you make a hell of a lot of money. If you're able to close out, you're short, because they froze the market after it hit $40. I mean, the whole thing is just stupid, and it reminds us that it's not oil that's trading; it's derivatives of oil.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big point. I think about trading places. Lisa, you like Eddie Murphy, and so trading places, you got Mortimer. I was like, oh, the orange futures. Yeah. We lost everything. We lost our seat. Oh, what a glorious day that would be, to see that kind of thing happen.
Well,
they all get wheeled out on stretchers
like Cliff says,
bankrupting them all.
Cliff says you don't want to live in a $600 world. It's not that having silver at $600 would be bad. It's that most likely the bad guy criminals have lost control of the system, and everybody's lost their 401k, and there's fucking fighting in the streets.
Yeah, it's gone.
That's what I was getting frustrated with.
And it's gone.
Westwood earlier about. I said, how come it's like in every scenario we the people lose out?
Because that's the word casino. I mean, that's what it is. You lose. We steal your energy, and that's how it works.
I thought it was the system was going to break, and we the people the truth would be revealed, and we the people could start over with nothing, and at least we would win in truth.
But the truth. I mean, I think we all know the truth, and we come to truth at a certain point, and we make decisions accordingly and use the tools that are available that is still rigged tools. And you go buy the house and, in your dream property and this, and then you start, doing the things that you want to do and live the life that you want to live, but you still speak the truth so that other people can do that. I may not be expressing that correctly, but I mean, you do what you can do to break free from it. To listen, go get some heirloom seeds. Hey, find some black dirt to plant them in. All wealth comes out of the earth. Once you realize that, I mean, get your piece of heaven right now and activate that heaven on earth to where you can break free from that and be independent and be as self-sufficient as you possibly can. And rather than depending upon, again, like I said, hey, I'm going to go vacation, when I get my retirement that is going to be devalued, how many percent?
There can be no Superman if the world is only full.
You are your own Superman. That's what it comes down to. You are the Superman, and you've got to activate, become the Ubermensch. I mean, become that person, and that's what we all have to do. Quit relying on the facts, that are 350,000 jobs got created, so everything's fine. No, I mean, it's all an illusion, and once you break free from that illusion, and it's just like, I'm gonna go walk the dogs and have a cigar. I'm going to have some whiskey on happy hour, and I'm going to live my own truth. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to put my truth out there, and it's up to you to, what's your truth? And it's, there are real things out there. There are like I said, negative $40 oil. I mean, hello, McFly, wake up. I mean, that doesn't exist. That is not reality. And so we have to, we have to get to a point where that doesn't affect us. It's all noise. It's all BS. It's all an illusion. It's all David Copperfield in Las Vegas. It's all, nothing matters. And then you realize, who do you interact with on a daily basis? What do you need on a daily basis? You need to eat, need a little heat, need a little cool in the summer, this and that. And you try to put yourself in those positions to where you become decentralized as much as you possibly can, because you realize it's all a rigged game. And I mean, quit depending upon, the news to feed you. I'm not talking to you, Lisa. I'm saying you in general. This is the language that we have.
I'm not talking to you, Lisa.
I know.
It's just like you in general. It's like quit relying on these external forces to be the savior, because you are the savior. I mean, you will save yourself if you allow yourself to do that. All right.
I got it.
Get off my soapbox.
Jason Moore's asking Bix, should I buy Litecoin silver rounds?
This is a cute question, but Litecoin silver rounds, I don't like to mix cryptos and silver. And you might be talking about just a silver round with the Litecoin stamp on it. They also made silver coins with an actual wallet in it with one Litecoin on the back that you peel off. Yeah, that's the one with the stamp. That's just
a silver round with Litecoin on it. But yeah, you're right. They used to make, I think Ballet Wallet's making new coins now that have a little wallet on the back they used to in the past. Yeah. And it's just like, hey, I need a crypto to back up my gold, so that it's tied to that. And it's like, it's kind of a derivative a little bit.
Ever buy a wallet from somebody else that you don't create yourself, because they're going to know your private key. So no, buy a silver round with a Litecoin stamp for the fun of it, or pay what a generic round. It's just the value of a Litecoin stamped silver coin is the value of a generic round, is what it is.
Yeah, it's 1 ounce of silver. It's just cooler because it's got Litecoin on it.
It has Litecoin on it, but it doesn't add value to it.
No.
Bix, will you be in Spaces tonight?
Oh, good.
I've already been on for 2 hours and something.
I know. This is the Spaces.
I'll tell you what space I'll be in. I'll be in my bed.
Oil in Syria.
It's about the pipeline. Yeah, maybe. The military is highly involved. We can blow up a pipeline that feeds Europe and get away with it. So, who knows what the U.S. is doing right now?
We can shut down pipelines from Canada. We can shut down transfer of, energy. And that's what it is. It's the energy. They want to control the energy. You are the energy. You have the energy that you can put out on a daily basis. In your own world, put that energy out there into good things. Quit depending upon, the energy that comes from someone else. Figure out ways to do it yourself and become independent. That's really what it comes down to. This mentality at this point of speculating of, when are the powers that be going to allow me to get rich in their system? And I think that's what a lot of people are looking at. Just stop participating in that system. Exit that casino. It is just a casino. Build the energy where you're at, and whether it's through community or storing your own 55-gallon barrels of oil, whatever, gasoline, whatever it is. Find the things that you need and acquire those things and have them in your possession. And know that you have them in your possession. It's not tied to anything else. It's not a derivative. It's not something that's, again, dogs on the couch. Again, I'll turn this camera off and I'll be happy smoking my cigar, having my whiskey, whether or not I'm on happy hour and I got the dogs and they love me, and that's what it is. And so find those truths.
All right. I think it's time to. One more question, then I'll let you go, Bix. I swear. Bix, theta price projection through 2024. So I had somebody tell me. So there's this whole ETHgate thing, which I went way down a rabbit hole, and then was told that I should probably not do any reporting on that, but let somebody else do the reporting on that. But I was like, I'm not reporting. I'm just like, here's what someone else said about it. You do your own research. But people should go follow Boring Sleuth and then do some critical thinking. And it's very interesting. There's also a Twitter post that Vitalik said, like, it's okay to have child porn or something like this. It's very weird. People should look into that. do your own critical thinking. But I was told that Theta was one of the very few like chains or projects that was capable of handling, like, if a project like Ethereum were to cease to exist, Theta could handle like a transfer of all of that, those projects.
It's written in the same computer language as Ethereum. I think behind the scenes, there are people behind the scenes at Theta who have not made themselves known, that we saw them in remote viewing type stuff. There are people guiding that project. Ethereum, I don't think, I'm not happy with Ethereum. I never have been. Theta does what Ethereum wishes it could do for pennies on the dollar, and faster and better and stronger. But Theta did, from the very beginning, said, we're not competing with Ethereum. It's like robots. They said, we're not competing, even though they're faster, better, and use the exact same language. But they're
also not protected by the deep state.
Yeah, well, and I was pissed in the beginning because Theta is one of the only big coins that never got on Coinbase and Kraken and Gemini, and now I'm just thanking God that they didn't.
Yeah,
you don't want people holding their Theta on those exchanges that will go down and be stuck in a bankruptcy where they sell off all the coins. But at the same time, people want instant gratification from Theta. Who knows? Theta could be the number one crypto tomorrow with a software download. And that's just a fact. The Theta Edge node could be downloaded on every single computer on the planet, practically. Definitely every smart TV made within the last 5 years. You could be sharing broadband, fixing the broadband problem. You could be earning T-Fuel, all in the background while you're watching your smart TV. Theta Edge node is a software download, and Samsung could download it with an update to their TV in 30 seconds, and all of a sudden Theta would be the number one crypto, by far bigger than Bitcoin. And I think it will be ultimately, but timing is very important, because the U.S. has no laws on the books still. How many years later, 16 years later, there's no laws on the books for cryptos, and that's on purpose.
Yeah,
they're regulating by prosecution, basically, and the people involved are horrific human beings. Gary Gensler and even worse, the people who took down Reggie Middleton. I mean, Reggie had
that's where it was. Jay Clayton left the room and left Gary holding the bag. And Gary's the one who signed the checks for
Hillary.
The Russia,
Russia.
Yeah, for the the Steele dossier.
Yes, all the Steele dossier.
Gary Gensler signed, his name is on that check. I would love to see that check.
It's my understanding that when Obama was in, he pardoned all these people for stuff. And so they're having to get caught on new things. That's part of the reason people get so pissed at Trump. Oh, you left all these people, these bad people in these positions. He pushed them forward to get caught in new bad things or in new old bad things.
I don't buy it.
That's
but I mean, that's good as long as you have somebody to prosecute them. But I mean, look at the prosecutors that are out there now. I mean, nobody comes to justice.
Because they got forgiven. They got the pass under Obama.
No, I get it. But here's the thing. Gary Gensler tonight's going to go have, a Wagyu steak, a tomahawk steak, out in D.C. tonight. Somebody's got to serve him that steak. That's his brother.
That's his twin brother.
Or whatever, whatever it is, clone, whatever it is, same DNA. But, he's going to sit down and think he's comfortable and he's going to enjoy the fine life. Somebody is going to serve him. Somebody has to get him out of the limo. Somebody has to participate in that game. If you're a waiter, if you're a cook, you have to make that. You have to bring that. At some point, we have to say, enough. You don't deserve to walk down the street. You do not deserve to be comfortable. You are an alien. You do not deserve to live with us as human beings. I'm not going to put on the uniform. I'm not going to put on the badge. I'm not going to carry the gun to protect you. And I mean, until we get to that point, You know, we're going to have 300 National Guard people from Illinois that are going, and this is the news this week, 300 National Guard soldiers that, you know, believe in America and pledge allegiance to the flag. You know, they're following orders, and J.B. Prickster, you know, he gives a big speech, you know, oh, thank you for your service, and he sends them off to the Middle East. National Guard. Bush started this crap. National Guard. They're not guarding our nation. Our nation's got an open civ at the southern border, and they're going to the Middle East until we say enough is enough and quit participating with our energy. And it starts at a very local level. You think you're going to have a nice steak? You're not going to have a nice steak. I'd bring him out a piece of freaking garbage, you know, bloody pork steak.
I'll serve him.
Well, F him. He does not deserve to participate in the system anymore because he screwed everybody. Vampires, quit feeding them what they want. Quit giving them the energy. And I mean, it has to at some point. There's got to be an awakening moment where we realize who the enemy is and quit serving them. Quit being serfs. I mean, it's nonviolent. You just say no.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm idealistic, but you know that's how I think.
Sometimes they need to get served.
Well,
depends.
I'm not running for president.
You're not running for president.
I would not.
I'm not suicidal.
I'm not. I would not make it. And the reason is very simple. Trump was the right guy at the right time. We need the biggest asshole on the planet to turn into the president of the United States to make everybody bow down. Literally, the world tour Trump did right after he got in office. You had the Pope kissing Trump's ring, walking in front.
He's going to Forbidden City in China. He's showing up, and I mean nobody else gets to go there. And you know he's showing up, and they're honoring him and giving playing songs, and you know
jumping around with swords and stuff, making him the king.
So maybe treaties were made. Maybe treaties were made, and maybe this is all just a play out of that. I don't know. The fact is, I know what I know in my real life. I know what I know now, and I know that if I see an asshole, and if I'm a server. And that guy shows, if Prickster shows up, am I going to serve him? Am I going to be? No.
You're on the list now, Clint. What are you on the list for?
I don't know. I got threatened.
You're not on the list. You're not doing enough.
I got threatened last week that I was on the list. Yeah.
On the list.
You're on the list. You're not making waves. You're not on the list. Hey, well, Bix, we love you. I know we've kept
you love you
too long.
I want to see you again. Give you a big hug.
We'll get together soon. I'll make it happen.
I'm going to call your wife and make
it happen.
Wait a couple days so she's over her whatever she's going through right now.
I know. I feel terrible that she doesn't feel.
Send her a text.
I will. I need to call her anyway.
Set it up.
It's nice catching up with you guys, and yeah, you guys are doing great things. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Well,
that means
we love you. We do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. That changes everything. It's a love for humanity and giving of yourself to make things better. And I mean, you've done that, and I appreciate that so much, and I resonate so much with you. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I just, I want to draw you back in like Lisa draws me in. You know,
I get Clint hug any day of the week.
Love you. I do.
My arms don't fit around him. He's so broad shouldered, like
a mini squash
on both sides, and
then really
a Westwood hug.
Westwood sandwich.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Love you.
All right. And love you all in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
for this,
thank you all.
Marathon happy hour. It was great. You guys,
it's 2 hours. 2.5 hours. Holy crap.
22.
I know, crazy.
2222 on 22. See you guys.
All right. Bye.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.